Welcome to the Vault XL. You are now listening to live number 2. Please check out my library in the YouTube queue for the earlier live stream pertaining to a new law in Tennessee by the governor, Mr. Lee, giving an officiant the right to decline performing a marriage of any said person. Second part of that live, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. A deputy and a detainee perished in the Tennessee River. He was texting his wife and went down into the water, and the detainee was handcuffed in the back seat of the car. And that's the latest coming out of Tennessee. Feel free to check out that last live stream in the YouTube queue. This content is pertaining to Montgomery. Miss Harmony Montgomery. Father has been found guilty in the unaliving of the daughter, second degree, and other said charges. He was found guilty on those said charges. But a source has come forward to give information to the advocate that the child was afraid of the father. Do not know if this information is true. Do not know if this was information that was relayed coming up 2 Wednesdays ago. We will discuss it. And also the search continues for the said child. Let's start with the search. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McGange129 Cash App, stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. WMUR TV is source number 1.
The Rumney Marsh Reservation sits along Route 107 in Saugus and runs through the city of Revere. It was the site of a heavy police search last spring and is once again being named as a high interest point in the search for Harmony Montgomery's remains.
Adam Montgomery was from the Revere area. He would know it very well.
Prosecutors say Adam Montgomery borrowed a U-Haul in the spring of 2020 to get rid of his daughter's body. That van...
Sorry, buffering. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Hello, green-eyed Hagen. Hello.
And was spotted on a toll camera on the Tobin Bridge in Boston.
And we know that he went through no New Hampshire tolls. So what that means is that she is somewhere along that route.
The 26-mile radius around the route from Manchester to Boston is about 1,500 square miles and will require significant resources to search, says law enforcement expert Richard Mello.
That will include cadaver sniffing dogs that can smell the scent of human remains, radar and sonar that may
Sorry about this. I don't know what's going on.
look underground to see if there's any disturbances in the soil.
Mello says human remains, even years after death, can provide some answers.
If they're fortunate enough to be able to find her and bring her home, DNA technology will be a central part of any further investigation.
And so we reached out to the Attorney General's office to see if it received any new tips since it made this information public, but we were told there are no new updates to provide at this point. Reporting in Saugus, Massachusetts, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
All right. Sorry about that. Saugus, Massachusetts. Van that he was driving, U-Haul van, was seen going through on this bridge. This officer saying, chief or whomever, that they do not believe he went into New Hampshire. Don't know. He's from Revere. Did he discard the child in his hometown or the general area? Is she discarded in water, the marsh, the woods, the forest? Drain? What? Because in the end, there was something left of her when he got someone to rent the van. So we really don't know the purpose of the rental van, quite frankly. If it was to move furniture and the remains, or just to remove the remains, I don't know. But the search continues for the girl child. And obviously they're in these areas for the obvious reason. Something has led them there. There have been several searches for Harmony Montgomery's remains over the past year. Investigators remain hopeful that she will be found. WMUR TV is the source if you need verification for the information. Where is the girl child? How much of the remains were discarded? You have to ask that question because he did have her in that CNC bag, noted by eyewitnesses, and it entered into the U-Haul van, and he went out into the night and discarded the child, drove 133 miles, says the speedometer. 9 times out of 10, rushing back to get the van back on time. We hear testimony of a conversation via Facebook Messenger between he and Travis. Travis asking him about the van. And ironically, he's telling him not to discuss that with him via the messenger, which tells you everything you need to know. You were up to no good, and that's why you didn't want to discuss on the app. Very interesting. What is the truth to this information that the child was afraid of her father? We've already seen the worst case scenario unfold via testimony by Kayla Montgomery in court of what happened to the child the day of her demise. And we're to believe those conversations made by her in court. You're entitled to your opinion. But what is baffling, besides the murder, besides this person and his wife carrying her around, all these people eyewitness to abuse of a child, no one stepped in, shuffling of a child from home to home, shuffling of a child between her mother and homes and the father, eyewitnesses to the abuse, DHS signing off to let her remain in the care of Mr. Montgomery and his wife, the child carried around, deceased in different bags, different locales. And then now, trial has gone on, it's over with, and you have this new information about her not wanting to go be with the father. Very baffling information. This is uploaded 2 days ago. NBC 10 Boston is the source. You just don't know what to believe. Isn't it, Shirley? All right, Shirley. Line behind. Lord have mercy.
The Office of Child Advocate here in Massachusetts reminded us of who Harmony was, a toddler, blind in one eye and dealing with mobility challenges, who lived life as fully and brightly as her smile. The child advocate investigator of Harmony's DCF case told me after her investigation was released, a source came forward to say Harmony was afraid of her father long before she was sent to live with him. It's a stinging new rebuke of the attorney appointed to represent Harmony's interests, and it's a story you'll only see on NBC 10 Boston.
Let me repeat all that.
Today, the Office of Child Advocate here in Massachusetts reminded us of who Harmony was, a toddler, blind in one eye and dealing with mobility challenges, who lived life as fully and brightly as her smile. The child advocate investigator of Harmony's DCF case told me after her investigation was released, a source came forward to say Harmony was afraid of her father long before she was sent to live with him. It's a stinging new rebuke of the attorney appointed to represent Harmony's interests, and it's a story you'll only see on NBC 10 Boston.
We received information after we issued our report that indicated that Harmony was afraid of her father. And so a question that I really want to ask, but can't ask because of attorney-client privilege, is, did you have a conversation with Harmony? Did you explain to Harmony what it would mean for her to move out of state, right?
In the Massachusetts custody trial, Harmony's lawyer told the court Harmony wanted to be with her father. The judge agreed, and Adam Montgomery took his daughter to New Hampshire.
Well, you've never seen Adam Montgomery's home. How did you make a substituted judgment on the basis of what was 10 visits that this made sense for Harmony to go with her father?
So you trust the source that told you Harmony
Yes.
was afraid of her? So it's someone who would know.
Yeah. It just reinforced for us how premature the decision was to send her home. And that has bothered me since the person called to share that information.
When Harmony's case came to light, New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu admonished the Massachusetts courts.
It was the Massachusetts courts that placed Harmony with a horrific individual.
The Office of the Child Advocate report was also critical of the judicial system, the attorneys, DCF too. And Thursday, a court spokesperson told us the report's recommendations assigned to them are in the process of being implemented, all of them, in an effort to ensure the system never fails another child in the way it failed Harmony. So Priscilla, now the state's child advocate, who you just heard from there, wants new legislation that will require oversight of the attorneys who are appointed to represent children in these DCF custody cases. Her hope is that proper oversight of new professional standards will catch this kind of judicial misstep in the future.
So, okay, what about the lawyer who represented Harmony? What does that person have to say with these new developments and what they hope for in the future for other children?
This is a really interesting part of the story. We don't know who the lawyer is. It's legally protected. And what the child advocate says is that she can't question that person because of attorney-client privilege.
Interesting. All right, Glenn, thank you.
All right. 10 Boston is the source. So we have this lady speaking who got information after they did their review of the case that the child was afraid of the father. So what we have to ask ourselves, where did the information come from? It'd be stupid if it came from the attorney, because the attorney wouldn't tell on herself. So did the attorney have this information that the child was afraid of Mr. Montgomery? First and foremost, is that true? Did the child tell someone in conversation she was afraid? Because what you have to ask yourself, a social worker went to her before death and asked her, obviously, allegedly the same question. Do you like it here? Are you comfortable here? Are they treating you well? She told that social worker everything was fine. Sadly, she died sometime after that last visit with the social worker, who also testified in court. So what is the truth? Did the child tell somebody this? Do they have it on audio? Verification, recording, film, that she said it? Who said it? And why are you just now bringing this information out? What is the point? So is this new information just released, what? 2 weeks ago, a week ago, a month ago, what? What are we talking about? She didn't give a timeline, so I can't speak of when this person gave this information. But then you have to ask yourself the obvious question. If you're going to say somebody came to you telling you that the child was afraid of the father, why would it be information released after trial? The trial is over. And I'm not saying the child didn't say it, but what I'm saying is, what is the purpose of mentioning it now? See, this is what I don't like about true crime. This right here. This he said, she said. What is the point to it? I'm being serious. What is the point in coming forward to tell the public this information? The girl is dead. The father isn't talking. No one else is talking of knowing of her whereabouts. So what is the point in now? After the fact, the man has been found guilty days ago in a court of law by 12 members of the jury to say she was afraid of him. What purpose is it serving to tell us that? We probably already gathered that anyway. We are trying to figure out the bathroom situation, if that part was true coming from Kayla, if the child had a bathroom problem while living with them, a bathroom problem before she went to live with them. See, you don't know anything because you don't know who to believe. You're only getting bits of a story and trying to put it together. And it's like to some degree, it's almost like you're wasting your time even trying to even put it together because she's dead. So who is this mystery person? When did they give this information to the advocate? As I said, recently, 2 weeks, a month, what? This is the one thing, this is why I hate talking about this nonsense, because it's always open-ended with everybody. They go to court, they still don't know how to ask the appropriate questions. They don't know how to get things down to a meticulous time frame. There were so many open-ended conversations during court. It was unbelievable. I didn't even have to watch all of the court proceedings to know. They just glazed over some of the questioning. You left gaps and shit. What is the purpose in testifying if you ain't going to ask everything? Did you see this? Did you hear this? Did you smell this? Hell, act like you're a police officer. What color shoes did you have on? Get down to the nitty gritty. Advocate says she can't question the lawyer because of client attorney privilege. So now you have to ask the lawyer, who will never speak. They'll take it to their grave. Did you speak with the child or not? Did the child confide in you she didn't want to go live with the father? Did you ever have a conversation with her? You have to ask that. Or you're reading notes from a therapist. I don't know. Because see, right now, this is a woman repeating from another person. So this is two-party information. I give up. I just give up. I just give up. Whoever told him she was scared of Adam, the guilt is eating them alive. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't put, like I said, anything past people these days. All these stories you hear of abuse, neglect of children, adults, elderly, it's all the same. Even if it's abuse of adult against an adult, there's always somebody that knows. The victim told somebody. There's always somebody that holds the secret. There's always somebody that turns a blind eye. In this case, it's no different. It's just extreme because of the allegations of people carrying a dead body around. And nobody had the sense to say, I'm not going to be a part of this. And that's Kayla. I'm not going around with you and this dead kid. I'm not sleeping with you. I'm not talking to you. I don't want you around my kids. And it's hard to even fathom this. Somebody this bold to, one, take the life of their own child and then carry the remains around. But as I said, he carried the remains around because he didn't trust himself to discard her. He was afraid she would pop up. Somebody would find her, whichsoever. That's the only reasoning I can put to what Kayla said. And who would lie about that anyway? Because that's deep to even tell that. Oh, yeah, we was carrying this dead kid around in a bag, and then we put her in another bag and more plastic bags, and we had her over here, over there, under the house, on the roof. I mean, come on. Just nonsense. Then these other stories with funeral home, abuse of corpses, not giving people the ashes, not cremating them, not embalming them, storing them in houses and sheds and hearses. And it's like, damn, get it together. What is wrong with people? But this is the whole point. They don't have respect for the living. How would you assume they would have respect for the dead? You wouldn't. So you really can't even be stunned to hear that somebody is abusing a corpse, moving a body around from place to place. It's one thing to move a whole body around. I don't care if the body is 5 foot tall, 5 feet. That's still macabre. Moving a body around place to place, place to place. Take the child, bury the child here, pick up the child, take the child, put him over here, put him in the tub, put him in the attic, put him in the basement, go put him over here behind the tree. What is this? Peekaboo? Come on. And then you're handling whatever the baby is in or the person is in. It's disgusting. But it goes to show you they don't have respect for life. So why would they have respect for the dead? The link is in the chat. If you'd like to come up on the panel and give your opinion, I'd like to invite new visitors, subs, to hit the link. You do not have to be shy. Hit the link, come up on the panel, give your opinion pertaining to the new information of the search continuing for Harmony Montgomery and this new information given to an advocate for the child, saying that the child feared the father, Mr. Adam. And do you believe these allegations? And who is this mystery person that gave this information? Thank you. Oh, Lord. Well, Shirley, she's never going to tell it. How about that? She would have to slip up, such as Adam. And Adam's never going to tell because he's going to hope one day, I can get out the gun charges, but he still will have the charge of the death of the child. So he probably will never leave penitentiary unless he breaks out or he dies. It's the only way he's coming out of prison. Because even if he did 15 years on the gun charge, he still has to do the charge for the murder of the child. So he's tartar. And I don't feel one bit of sympathy for him, nor do I feel anything for Kayla. I'm not going to, keep listening to this nonsense. Because like I said, we all have to own our part in dealing with people. We all have done foolish things in life. We have all fooled with people that did not mean us well. We have probably not been so kind to other people. And they didn't have no business dealing with us. It's a two-way street. But when you cross over from volatile relationships, toxic relationships, friendships, workplace, family, and cross over to the big M, that's totally different. Not saying it's right to deal with toxicity. Of course not. Playing mind games all the time with people, being gaslighted 24/7. You're talking about unaliving a child and you're there and or you're a witness to the crime after the fact, getting knowledge. However, why would you want to ride that donkey ride? That's why you have to tell people, you are about to do something sinister. You're thinking about doing something sinister. Do not tell me. I'm not interested. I don't want to hear it. Go call Dr. Phil. Don't call me. I don't want to hear it. So now you hear Department of Human Services, I don't know which one was speaking, going to try to do things differently pertaining to the preservation of a child's life, children that come in their care. Well, good luck with that. Because in the end, words are just what they are, words. You can say whatever you want in a microphone. You can even put it on paper. But you're speaking of countless people that you're hoping are going to follow through with your recommendations and your criteria. And that's where your problem comes in. You can put it on paper all day. Please do this, this, and this. But will he, she, or they do what you said to do? Probably not. And that's where your problem's going to come in. Please sign these forms. Please have Joe Blow sign the forms. Please check on the child this many times a week. Please follow up. Please call. Please visit. You got to pray that the person will follow through. And anybody can hide the truth when it comes to abuse and neglect. You literally have to strip a child down naked to see if they are being abused, underfed, overfed, whatsoever. Because anybody can hide bruises, bumps, and things under clothing, sweat clothes, long sleeve shirts. Could be pinching a child, could be doing anything to a child. The child is scared. He's not going to tell you, yeah, I'm scared of these people. I want out of here. Too scared. Even though they could remove him right then. But maybe he doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. Because only a fool would sit there and let a child say, yeah, I'm scared for my safety. They beat me. Please take me out of here. And then you stupidly leave them there overnight. Well, I'll come back for you in 2 days. And I'm sure that's happened in many households where children have cried out to other relatives, please help me. I don't want to go back to that house. They're doing this to me. And foolishly, the people go back and say something to the parents. Thank you, sweetheart. And that's something I don't like. This is why two-legged creatures are just ignorant. If a child comes to you and tell you they fear for their safety, their parents are beating them up, harsh punishments, cruelty, grounding them every 5 seconds for petty stuff, why would you then go and tow and say something to the parent? Especially if it's volatile. Because if you're not going to call the police at the time of the conversation with the child, you are wasting your time to double back and take the child back to the parent or go confront them, and the child is still in their custody, because this is how children end up unalive and then missing. You don't ever go back to the parent while the child is still in the custody. If you see actual abuse on the child or you heard from the child, you make sure the child stays in your custody, and then you call the law, and then you let the law step in, and then they will call the Department of Human Services. But you don't go send the child back. That doesn't make any sense. You see the child beat up, bruised up, and then you're going to take the child right to the enemy. That's something a fool would do. Oh, well, you better not hit her anymore. You better not put your hands on him anymore, or I'll call the law. Yeah, well, next time you're going to hear the baby has taken a permanent vacation. How about that? How's little Johnny doing? I don't know. I sent him off to such and such house. And Johnny ain't been sent nowhere. Kind of like this Harmony story. Oh, she's with the mom. She's with the mom. She's been with the mom how many times? Think about all the people this nut told this version to. They testified in court and told you. Best friend. That dumb woman that's incarcerated with the lengthy criminal record. You were friends with him all of 5 minutes. He's my best friend. No, you two were friends as far as smoking dope. There's a difference. It was your dope associate, not your friend. But he told her the same thing. Oh, she's with her mom. Told this one over here. Oh, she's with her mom. Hell, didn't even tell Kelsey, the girl that's dead. He didn't tell her nothing, allegedly. From what the family says. He didn't tell her he had another child, which I find strange. Why not her? You telling all these random people that Harmony's with the mother, but Kelsey, he didn't tell her. That leads you to think he must have really liked her. Even though he's a sick SOB, he liked the blonde girl. And the blonde girl had family. They probably had a little bit of money. The grandfather owned property. So, I watched that testimony today. I didn't catch it before. He owned property, this old man. He probably felt like he was on easy street. Gave them a car to use to go to Manchester. He was just milking that white girl down. But that's what he did. That's who he is. He is a user, manipulator, grand hustler, double juggler. I've seen people like Adam all my life. They know how to hustle. They know how to bat their lashes. He's not a bad looking guy. He knew what to do. Throw on the charm, rub up the leg, kneecap. He can get any damn thing he wants. Even got men doing stuff for him. That's why I said I found it interesting the way the defense had talked to Travis on the witness stand. The relationship you two have, that just sounds weird. The way he worded it, relationship. The hell are you talking about? You mean my homeboy? My homeboy then? Because usually people will say to you, oh, your friend. That's your friend. And then it's up to you to correct them. But he said relationship. I just found that strange, a strange way of wording for two men. Maybe I'm wrong. But hey, Tabitha says one night he came to her house, doped up, erratic, talking about Kayla said he needs to sell himself. Now, why would a woman say that to a man? I'll wait. Why would a woman say that to her husband? You need to go sell yourself. Seems like he would tell her, hey, we need some money. You need to go sell yourself. Go stand on the street corner or put an ad on the internet. Because maybe he was selling himself for dope. It happens with people who become addicted to narcotics. They sell themselves sexual favors for money. So it would not shock me any to find out that Adam is bisexual and he did prostitute to get money. Because what did I tell you all about sober thoughts? Stay woke. That is when your mind releases sins and vices. When you are inebriated, doped up, or drunk, that's when inhibitions come out. People are more touchy-feely. People are more friendly. People say things they wouldn't normally say when they're sober. So when he made those comments to Tabitha, allegedly, she said, oh, that's when I started wondering about Harmony. Well, I haven't seen her. Maybe they sold her. Yeah. Maybe I think the same thing too. I don't know. But I know how dope fiends get down. And I can tell you, that's something I've heard with the average man who's gotten high and addicted to crack. He was messing with men for the dope. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that with African-American men who were crackheads. Girl, you know, girl, he done did it with such and such. Girl, they said he did this. And of course, people will lie, make up stuff because people are just cruel. But then I have to always tell myself the addiction will always weigh higher than reasoning. The addiction will always weigh higher. So you will go into the belly of the beast if you want that dope. And if that means having oral sex with a man, having full sex with a man, robbing the convenience store, robbing your friend, robbing your family, you will surely do it. The devil don't give a damn. He's a user too. That's why I told you all, imagine what you don't know pertaining to these nimwits. Imagine what you don't know. People who have not testified to the court. Paths they've crossed. And who's to say that he ain't had sex with Badero? Yeah, I'm going to go on and say it. Why not? Exactly. For all we know, the dope dealer that testified, they could have been having sex together. No disrespect to you, Badero, but Queen knows the game. Queen has lived. Queen has seen. Queen has had conversations with people. And I don't speak on nothing I don't know about. And that's one thing I have learned with people who get high. They will sell their bodies. They will even solicit the dope man. Hey, can I do something for you to get a little, $10 hit? And the dope man don't know, ain't nobody looking and can hear the conversation. Hell yeah, he'll let a man crawl between his crotch and handle his business. I know it, I've heard it, I believe it. Now, some will say, well, they already had to be gay. I don't really care. It don't really matter to me if they were or not. But the point is, you want the dope and you will do what you got to do to get it. So I won't doubt that that man was soliciting himself for sexual purposes to get dope from the dope dealer, whomever. Sell his body to get money to buy the dope, because that's the gist of the story in getting high. You got to have the money to buy the dope. Kayla, she might have turned some tricks too. Who hell knows what those things were doing. Two-part conversation. Someone has given information that the child was afraid of her father. Was Harmony Montgomery afraid of Adam? Who did she tell? How many people knew? Did the child ever say it? And then that coincides with the social worker who allowed her to stay in the home, but also put in a report that the children were high risk. So it makes no sense to say, well, I'm going to close the case, but I think the children are high risk. That's contradicting each other. You can't leave the children in the house, but then put in a report the children are at risk, high risk. Then you should have had the children removed. And if you were going to the house and you knew that the house was foreclosed, let's go there. You were stupid to leave the children there, not knowing where the children were going to end up with the parents. That's why I told you this was a wrecking ball waiting to happen, whether Harmony stayed with these people or not. Whether he liked the child or not. How he unalived her. It was a accident waiting to happen because the children were in the custody of addicts. Addicts who didn't give a you know what. Something bad was going to happen to the children because children cannot take care of themselves if people are imbibing drugs, leaving them alone, leaving them with anybody to take care of them, running the streets all day and night. Also breaking the law. He was stealing guns, this and that. So that would leave her alone to take care of the children. Now she's got to figure out how she's going to navigate, get a babysitter, daycare. Not saying it's not possible. We know it's possible, but you have to have the gumption to do it. And this girl didn't even drive. She told us that in testimony. His car, he drove. So she didn't even have probably a driver's license. If so, I stand corrected. But the point I'm trying to make, there were no goals set by her. You never heard she kept a job the whole time of leaving that house, going to the mother's, going to the shelter, going to the new apartment, leaving the new apartment. You did not hear that she was holding down no 9 to 5 continuously while this little girl was in their custody and then when she went missing. Just a hot mess. That's my information for today. So sad. Two-part discussion. Where is Harmony Montgomery? Is she buried in Revere? What are the remnants left behind that the father took to dispose of the child? How much of her was left? Not to be macabre, but you have to ask, how much of her was left over from whatever he was trying to do that day in the bathroom? Because these are allegations from Kayla, if you believe them. And obviously, if he rented the van for the sole reason of discarding her, then there was some of her left in that bag. I don't even want to think of what the child looked like, because anytime I sit and think about her in that bag, CMC bag, I think of Lori Vallow Daybell and Chad Daybell and those children that they unalived, and what was left behind of the girl child was in a bucket. And you can't imagine that. Whether the bucket was, so high, so big, you're still talking about putting a human in there. I can't. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Well, some people are attracted to men who live pillar to post, homeless shelters, so on and so forth. I'm sure a lot of women have liked men, dated men who lived with a mother, lived with a sister, lived over here, lived over there. I don't know. That's why I found it strange when I saw the girl's photo on Court TV. I thought, wow, she's a pretty girl. And then how she looked in that photo on Court TV is not the same looking girl that got out of the car with Adam when he got pulled over and they were asking him about Harmony. That was night and day. But if you are on narcotics, addicted to drugs, how you look 5 years ago, 2 years ago is not the same once you have decided to let the drugs take over. You don't care about painting your face and putting on makeup and combing your hair and taking a bath. You don't care. And then you like some dude, some nasty bum. So you're willing to follow him to the edge of the earth, just like what Kayla did. It's the same thing. It's the same MO. follow him around, do what he says, don't care if he mistreats you. So let's ask that question. We can't ask her because she's no longer alive. Did he abuse Kelsey? Did he put his hands on her? Did he beat her up? Black her eye? Just curious. Well, cornbread, we have laws. So it won't be no eye for an eye. By the time they put you on death row, you sit there for a long time. Some people have been on there, 20, probably 30 years, waiting to be put to death. Or any type of, corporal punishment, Takes a while because we've seen people who have been incarcerated unjustly. So I guess maybe that's the reason why they don't put you to death so soon, just in case they got it wrong. Or your attorneys want to appeal your conviction. But yet you've been handed the death penalty, but you're saying, no, it wasn't me. They got the wrong person, blah, blah, blah. There you have it. Said no goals. Yeah. Very interesting. Well, we know out west, one of their remedies is in Idaho, firing squad. Woo, that sounds vicious. Well, my thing is death is death. So long as it's by the hands of another person, I don't think I'd want to go either way. I don't want to go in the gas chamber. I don't want to go lethal injection because that causes you to asphyxiate. And the firing squad means somebody's got to shoot you to death. So none of those sound appealing to me. Who wants to choke on their own breath? Nobody. Gas chamber, that ain't pretty from what I've heard. And then some of the drugs have been used on inmates and it didn't work as swiftly as they had anticipated. And I've heard it's not a pretty sight watching a person convulse and try to fight, the injection. It was a bad sight. I think I read that recently. Someone had watched someone be put to death and it was not a pretty sight. Hello, Miss Bunny. The link is in the chat if you want to give your opinion. I don't mind. That's the most I have for you today as far as content. Feel free to check out my earlier live. That was a pretty good live about the deputy texting his wife and running down that ramp with that girl in the back seat. Quite unbelievable. Bragging about arresting somebody to only die with her in the squad car. He was able to get out, but he also drowned. Some might say that was a wicked case of karma. Although she allegedly committed a crime, was arrested. We don't really know what she did to be arrested, just that she was arguing with a male on a bridge. He arrested her. Domestic dispute. So that's why I asked all the questions. Was she volatile? Did she have a weapon? What? And then she gets into this squad car thinking she's just going to go to jail. Probably thought she was going to bond out that night or next day. And she ends up drowning in the backseat of a car, handcuffed. And allegedly the car flipped over in the muddy water. So it was dark down there, murky. He's able to get out. His window was down. Don't know if it was down when he went in the water. Don't really have all the details, but because you're not going to know you're not there. But it's a terrible situation. And they found him hours later or so in the water, not too far from the automobile. The link is in the chat if you'd like to hit it and join the queen up here and give your opinion on the said information that allegedly Harmony Montgomery was afraid of her father. An advocate for her case has spoken to the news. Who is that person that brought forward this information? How old is the information, or how new is it? Did the lawyer that worked her case know of this information? Will they ever come forward and give their rendition of what happened? Anything dealing with children is private anyway. Then he's a lawyer or she's a lawyer. They're not supposed to tell anything unless they choose to. Since now she's deceased, maybe the person will come forward and tell what they knew about the case. Did they place the child with the father knowing she said this? Who did the child say this to? Or is this third, fourth party information? Don't know. Said one man lived through the electric chair. I can't imagine. Because you're being singed to death. Who wants to pass away like that? Oh, yeah, electrocution. I forgot about that. Being electrocuted. Electric chair. Forgot about that. Electric chair. That's probably one of the first ones. Electric chair, gas chamber, or the gas chamber. One of them was the oldest. Lethal injection. And then now this out west has the firing squad, bringing back old school method of death. Ooh, Lord have mercy. I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. So best I stay out of trouble so I don't have to find out. How about that? That's my commentary. Now, if there's anybody in the chat that just came in, been in here the past 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes while I've been speaking, if you'd like for me to play the audio pertaining to the advocate's conversation to the news, I will gladly play it again if you need to hear it. Where is the child? Where was she discarded? How much of her was discarded? Was she discarded in the town where Adam grew up? Nearby, Massachusetts? Marsh, lake, river? Thrown over a bridge? Pond? Sewer system? Garbage can? Where's the child? Did you change a bag? Did you just dump her out into water? To me, that would have made more sense than leaving her in the bag, because the bag has been so synonymous with the child. I can't see leaving her in a bag, because if that's the case, she could have done that in the beginning. It's a very macabre story. But as I've brought you content this week of people abusing corpses, fake funeral directors, and people allegedly having funeral and cremation services and storing the bodies on their property and buildings, it just goes to show you we have wicked people out here, people living in homes with decaying bodies. I brought you that case from a black man doing it with his aunt recently, him and a brother or cousin. Then the case with, I brought you the other day with the guy who had the crematorium that went out of business or bankrupt. He had a woman in a hearse for 2 years in the backyard, and he was renting this house. So when they evicted him, this is where they found the 30 remains, plus the lady in the hearse. It's just ridiculous. Oh, he was freed. So what are you saying? He got to stay? They stopped the electrocution? It's usually the governor calls before they're supposed to be executed. They're going to have a stay or whatever. How soon was he freed? I don't know why they keep saying it's not working. That's what she said yesterday. I don't understand. Hold on. $5Y 5VPS. Oh, I see what the mistake is. Sorry, honey. A letter was left off. I guess. Three. Oh, hold on, honey. Oh, this is strange. Got those motorcycles out. Yeah, I think I left off one of the letters. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. Firing squad because of the Lori Vallow Daybell nonsense. Chad Daybell. And Chad Daybell's trial is to go forth in April. I did not tell you all that days ago. And Lori's also had a hearing for the death of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. What are you ugging about, Green? This is a slow motion live stream. This is your opportunity to be heard. Make it worth the while. Make it worth the chat's while, my while. Shirley, where are you calling from? Shirley, where are you calling from?
Hi,
Where are you
I'm
calling
calling from Denver, Colorado.
Okay, go ahead. Let's start with
Denver, Colorado.
I heard you. Let's start with the search of the child. Can you not hear?
First of all, Kayla, Travis, that uncle know where that baby's remains are.
Okay.
They can't sit there and say they don't.
Well, let's slow down for a minute. Just slow down now. They can't know where the child is because they weren't living in the house. They were gone. Kayla might know, but the uncle and the grandmother have been gone. And I don't think he would tell them where he put the child. Because there was a reward. So wouldn't I want the reward money? Hello? Can you not hear?
Maybe, maybe not. Well, some people do, some people don't.
Well, how do you feel about them searching in Revere where he grew up?
I'm pretty sure that baby is down there in that water somewhere, or wild animals have gotten her.
Okay, but I'm saying where he is. Slow down for a second, sweetheart. Where he grew up, they're searching, I think, in an area where he grew up. Do you think possibly he discarded her in the town where he grew up?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, don't cut your background down. Cut your TV and other stuff down because it's throwing you off on the live stream.
Okay.
That's why you can't hear what I'm saying. You got stuff playing in the background. Thank you. Okay.
Oh.
Somebody has now spoken to the advocate about the child being afraid. Who do you think that person is that told that to the advocate? Can you not hear me, Shirley? You sound like you're having a hard time.
I do believe it's the guardian at Leiden.
The who?
Guardian at Leiden. Every child that...
I don't understand what you're saying.
The GAL.
What guardian are you speaking of?
It's the guardian at Leiden that every child gets appointed when they're in a foster care system or Harmonies.
Okay. Well, I don't know. See, where that's going to be a problem is she got placed with the father. They didn't do a background check. They didn't do a home check. He just showed up for court and they gave him custody. So nothing was done as far as background check, work check, verification of home, criminal record. So I don't know. I have no idea.
No treatment plans or nothing?
He just showed up and they gave him custody. That's why everyone's questioning. Nothing was done. They just let him take her. That's the point. He showed up and they handed her to him. So there was obviously no background check, no home check, no nothing. You got to remember, these are two separate states. So it's not the same state. He wasn't, living in Massachusetts.
Right. But usually when a child is placed in foster care or removed from the home, there is a treatment plan ordered by the courts.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to answer it. So oh Lord, I don't.
Miss Queen, I know this for a fact.
I'm not questioning what you're saying. What I'm trying to explain to you is this. He showed up to court for her. They obviously did not have nothing or decided to just give her to him. That's what I'm trying to say. It's obvious. Why would I give a child to somebody who has violent tendencies? They have 21 arrests or 20-some arrests at the time.
That's what I'm saying. Where was the treatment plan?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Obviously, the judge did not listen to anything. He did not care. He saw somebody there to get the child out of the state's custody. He gave the custody to the father. That's it.
Well, I'm telling you, our welfare, our CPS and our court systems need to be reformed.
Right. But like I said, what was said in this commentary is that even if you write all that on paper, this is what we're going to do. It's still up to somebody to follow through and administer the protocol. There you have it.
You're right, and I blame that social worker. That social worker is to be blamed. He walked in that house. He seen it was dirty. He seen them kids that they were high, they were drunk, or whatever. And that social worker should have removed them kids right there and then.
Well, he didn't. Because as I've told you all before, I've spoken to a social worker recently, months back. I know her. She said, or know of her rather, she said, we don't necessarily remove children because a house is unkempt. Tennessee law. So you do think maybe that's the protocol there? New Hampshire, they didn't remove the child because she kept going back and forth anyway with different people, her mother. Just leave her here. Leave her with the father.
I don't know. It's hard to say, but I know that when you have a case and it says at high risk, they're removing them children.
Be Real has a question. How do you all feel about Crystal trying to get a lawsuit against DCS? Good question. Shirley?
Yes.
You're not listening. Nothing I'm saying. Somebody in the chat says, how do you feel about Crystal wanting a lawsuit?
You know what? I blame, I don't think she has a ground to stand on.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I don't think she has.
I agree, Green Eye. 3 times, you don't have a leg to stand on. If they took the child one time, you're going to have to prove that somebody lied on you or fabricated some information.
Yep.
That's the only way that'll work. And you're still not guaranteed to win in court because, as I said, the state don't pay the state. State don't want to give no money toward themselves for wrongdoing. Look how many kids have been failed by DHS. When did you ever hear that parents got money? Guardians got money. I haven't heard of any cases where they got paid. And Hagan said, shouldn't the judge be at fault for placing the baby in the care? Yes. The judge and the social worker. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's fine, Shirley. Shirley, how do you feel about the judge?
He needs to be removed off the bench.
Okay. So we got two. Oh, Lord. So the
Remove him.
So the judge needs to be removed, and Crystal doesn't have a leg to stand on as far as a lawsuit against the state, Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Somebody says the judge retired after Harmony. But I do feel like the judge and social worker failed her. Yes, I agree, be real. Yeah, she was failed.
The system failed her. All the adults in her life failed her.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the rumor, or I hadn't verified it, but his father overdosed last weekend? Adam's father. Hello?
The apple don't fall far from the tree.
Okay. Well.
Yes.
Interesting. Everybody's just chatting in the chat. They act like they're scared to hit the link. Now, if I don't have the link, then they worry me to death about having the link. I said I was going to quit saying this during the live stream. What about the advocate? I don't know. Anything else you want to say, Shirley?
No, I'm just trying. I'm confused about this whole thing because I have dealt with DCS or TPS myself,
Okay.
and I know the first thing that.
Well, why was the state involved with you? Can you say?
I don't mind saying I had a battle with an aneurysm, a stroke, and cancer all at the same time, and it.
And what happened?
And it was for the safety of my children to make sure they had safe plans involved.
I mean, but who called? Did somebody call? Somebody had to call.
The hospital.
So what? They didn't think you could take care of your children? Hello?
No, it wasn't that. It was to make sure that my kids, while I was in a 5-week coma, was in a safe environment.
Okay. Well, explain to me. Well, who took care of your children, Shirley, while you were in the hospital? Hello?
My oldest son.
Okay. And how long did he take care of the kids?
He had him for approximately 6 weeks.
Okay. All right. So, do you have any more visits from the state, ma'am? Shirley?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you for talking with me, honey.
Yes.
Okay. She's having problems hearing. Yeah, a big delay. Because I'm trying to keep the continuity going. I'm already at an hour now. Lord have mercy. The granddad. The granddad probably was out getting high. Where are Crystal's parents? I've heard nothing about her family since she wants to sue. Does she have brothers, sisters, mother, father living? What? Where are her family members? Crystal, you can't get any money. So just stop that, okay? You had the baby 3 times. You were not able to take care of the child because you had substance abuse issues. So you don't have the right to be asking the state for a damn dime. That's my public opinion. Hello, Ms. Hagan from North Carolina. How are you doing today?
All right. How are you?
Fine. You won't have anything in the background playing now, will you?
No.
Okay, good.
And hopefully the internet will hold up today. It crashed today.
Wendy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's start with the search for the child. Do you believe the child is buried in a place familiar to Mr. Adam Montgomery?
Very well could be.
Okay.
But at this point, she could be anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about how much of her was discarded, because that's what's going to lead to finding her, depending on what he discarded of her. How much left do you think there was that he discarded? Not to be, volatile or vile, but
at this point, it would be skeletal.
I mean, at the time, of course, how much of her you think he had gotten melted down or whatever?
I think he pretty much got it all done except for the skeletal.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's deep.
Because if you get rid of tissue, you're going to have a hard time to figure out how she died, what she died from, and then even then, if they do find some bones or such, you just never know what kind of tools they used.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say you're going to have a hard time figuring out how.
Okay. Let me do some Googling right quick. Go ahead. Let's talk about the person who has spoken with the advocate and given information that the child was afraid of the father. Who do you believe that person is?
I don't know, but my feeling on that is it's a little too late for that now.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Lord, because knowing that she was scared of him would have possibly been a removal before then, possibly.
Yeah, somebody had to tell it though.
Yeah.
So
but this lady didn't say,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This lady didn't even tell us when somebody told her this. So it's like, you're going to the news to tell this. Why don't you tell us when they told you? She just says, when I close my report of her. Okay, when did you close the report of her? Yesterday, 5 days ago, 2020. What, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, she didn't say.
I just think any information at this point is a little too late. The only information that needs to be brought forth is where Harmony is. I mean, that's just my thought on the subject. But
Green Eye, what are you saying? Crystal, I bet, got Harmony's too at some time. Don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand.
And see, they already made that deal with Kayla, and if they don't renege on that, or it's a messed up situation because we don't know if Kayla knows.
Let me give you all a little research information pertaining to lime and decomposition. Does lime break down a body? The observations from experimental cases were extended to historic and archaeological sites and concluded that lime delays the process of decomposition, but does not inhibit it. The decomposition process continues from inside the body by microorganisms, Scotsman's ETAL. So, what does lime do to a body? Limes are high in, oh, they're talking about limes. Oh my God, come on, seriously? I think they mean lye, not limes, right?
I know when farmers bury their animals, they spread lime before they put the dirt on to keep the smell down.
Well, smell it.
I don't.
I mean, spell it. Spell the one you're saying.
Lime.
Okay, because they're getting it mixed up with the limes you eat. Okay, so this one says lye. What does lye do to a decomposing body? When lye is heated to approximately 300 Fahrenheit, which we know this don't even count for this, the solution can turn a body into a tan liquid with a viscous consistency in just 3 hours. So I'm confused because this. Oh God.
I thought lye was something you use in soap.
Well, it can be used for different things, sweetheart. Obviously.
Yeah. But lime itself, the stuff that they spread.
Yeah, I'm talking about the stuff that's in the bag. That's what I'm trying to find. It's
It might be LYME.
Well, that's what I'm seeing. Quick lime is this one thing by Cora. Oh man, sometimes Google is.
I don't know if it decomposes anything, but I know it's for a lot of people use it for the smell.
Okay, so well, that's what I'm trying to pick up something now that says concrete. Here it is. Quick lime used to be spread over corpses because it was thought to rapidly decompose the flesh of the corpse, but what it actually did was desiccate, dry out the corpse, which while it might have shrunk the corpse somewhat, mostly just stopped it from smelling as bad. It actually preserved the corpse better than if the corpse was just left there to rot. There you have it. Quick lime. Lord have mercy.
Because when we had a sewer problem, our plumber told us to get lime and spread it underneath the house.
So basically it's to dry out the body and stop the smell. So that means she probably still was, she probably shrunk some from the lime, but she still was, a corpse. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, I figured when he put her in the bathtub, a lot of the fluids and matter that was not bone could have been washed down the drain.
So, because I thought she said lime, but I didn't know if we're talking about lime, lye, which is the damn difference. Lord Jesus have mercy.
Yeah, we're learning a lot.
I mean, yeah, because I thought she said lime. That's what I thought she said in court.
But it's just crazy what people do these days.
And this is talking about cement. So here comes somebody else speaking. Civil engineer, retired. The results you get may depend on whether by lime you mean ground limestone, quick lime, or hydrated lime. See, different kinds. But in general, lime on a corpse primarily hides odors of decomposition. It may actually slow the rate of decomposition. There has been apparent belief it prevents the spread of disease, but that appears unsubstantiated. Okay. There we have it. Oh, mercy.
Well, that would make sense why the plumber told us to put the lime underneath the house because of the sewer line had broken.
Oh, yeah, because it's going to smell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Liplock says we use lime to reduce the smell in the outhouse. So that's possibly why he used it, was to get rid of the smell. And then maybe he thought if he read the directions, it would also dry out the corpse because you don't really know what people know at the time when they're getting things to try to dissolve a body.
Yeah.
These two things I've read say, most people thinking it's for one thing, but really it's to dry the body out and stop it from smelling, not basically dissolve it. It just dries it out, shrinks it a bit. So there was something left of her. That's obvious, or he would have never used the van. Have somebody rent the van to get rid of whatever was left over of the child.
Yes.
Happy hidden, that goes. We're only relying on testimony from Kayla. That's all we have. These are her versions of carrying the body around and him taking the child back and forth, frozen from the job, and then him running hot water to dissolve the ice, I guess, and then pour the lime on her. So you don't really know what's the truth. This is all her version. So I don't know.
Well, at some point, there's
I don't believe
proof
half the shit to come out of her mouth any damn way.
Well, there's proof that they did carry her around because, like, in the ceiling of the shelter.
Yeah, we know all that. But
somebody's
asking about the shower. What happened in the shower? I'm telling her, we only know this from Kayla.
Yeah.
We don't really know what he did in the shower to her. This is just her version.
I'd say bits and pieces of what Kayla has said could be true, but then there's other pieces that aren't.
Well, Shirley, there's nothing about her because she didn't get tried for murder or accessory. All those charges, anything pertaining to the gun charges of hiding the guns in the house from him, the fraud, any tax fraud, all that was put on the back burner for her to testify truthfully about what happened to the child. There you have it.
Yeah, because I'm waiting to see if maybe they renege on her deal or whatever they did and go forth over her too.
Yeah, well, they should because she did lie.
Yeah,
I found the discrepancy. So she did not tell the truth about what happened to the child because the dates are off. It would have believed the testimony from the police officer that saw them in the car the 29th of November through December 2nd. 2 car accidents. The child was not in either car, either date.
And I have tried to figure out what December 7th means, and I cannot. The only thing I know is December 7th was Pearl Harbor Day, when Pearl Harbor, that whole thing in 1941 happened.
Who knows?
But there's no other significance to December 7th that I can find.
Jacked up. And he's never going to tell. He has no reason to tell where she is.
No.
Why would I tell that? I'm already facing 30 years in here. You've now found me guilty of murdering my child. I'm not going to tell you where she is. For what?
Exactly. So they could possibly change it from second degree to something else if they find her.
Yeah. Well, we got to hope that everything was done on the up and up in case they decide to have an appeal.
Yeah.
Because he probably will appeal it. So we might be looking at this trial again 2 years down the road, a year or two from here. Wasting taxpayers' money. Start this mess all over. And those people aren't going to want to come back and testify. Especially the way that girl behaved, crying and moaning and putting on in the courtroom. She didn't want to be seen on camera. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
Yes, he wants to control. Well, he had the control. That's the whole point of the story. He's a narcissist. He's a psychopath. So he had control for years dealing with Kayla and other people because he's a manipulator. That's what manipulators do. That's what narcissists do. They like to be the center of attention. So he had that. And in the end, he's still getting it by us talking about him and him going to trial. That's still attention. And some people don't really understand that even bad attention is favorable by a crazy person.
Yes. Well, and then also that means he's going to continue to be talked about until Harmony's found.
Exactly. So that's why he felt like I don't have to go to court and sit in there and listen to that shit you all talking about.
Well, not only that shows guilt too.
Yeah, well, when you're sick, you don't think like that. That's our opinion of him. You understand? He doesn't care what we think. That Kayla, she probably don't care either. You know, I'm gonna be truthful with you. Most of the people that testified that were associates of them, They probably don't give a fuck either.
No,
I hate
they
to say that,
don't.
but I'm going to keep it real. Because most of them, they were on drugs. You know, I don't know how they're living now, but I know it's hard to get off of drugs. I won't doubt that some of those people are still getting high.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably still getting high.
Yeah, that's really sad that they could not find someone to come and speak for Harmony or that was not a substance abuser
Yeah,
or
yeah. All
a
their associates,
criminal.
because those are the kind of people that were around them and that little girl. And that's what's so sad, that she didn't go visit anybody that was decent, somebody that went to church, had a full-time job, was doing something in the world. Her life was around a bunch of no good motherfuckers that sit around the house, eating Doritos and chips all damn day, getting high, running around trying to find dope. That's what the little child's existence was the last, few months of her life.
Yeah.
She was with him not even a year, because we don't really know when they unalived her. But we
Yeah.
know it's, February on to allegedly December, which I don't believe was December. Could be wrong, but I got a feeling they unalived her. Probably unalived her before they moved out that house.
That's what I think. Between October and November. Before Thanksgiving. That's what I think.
It's terrible. Then you have to sit here and think too, who's probably writing him, talking to him? Oh my God.
Yeah, you get all them crazy sick people that like these people in prison.
Oh, I feel so bad for him. They lied on him. He didn't hurt his daughter. They're liars.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, okay. Can't fight that those things on that up there in that vent. If you to scratch everything Kayla said, that's the one thing you can't refute.
Exactly.
It's the shelter.
The shelter, and there was no blood found in the car except for the trunk.
I just can't see in my right mind. It's one thing to kill a child, but to then carry them around, that's where it just gets all the way bizarre.
Exactly.
It's already inhumane taking the life of a kid, but you're going to carry the kid around in a bag when you could have disposed of that child anywhere. You could have easily took a train, a bus, took a ride to the next town on a Greyhound or Trailway bus or something. This is bizarre to me, carrying a dead person around.
Yes, put her in a garbage bag and stuck her in a dumpster. Something.
Anywhere. That's why they usually throw away children anyway, in the woods, in the water, or in a dumpster. I don't know why you would continue to carry a dead person around. This is weird to me. Almost
like she was a trophy or something.
But he had to get tired. Wouldn't you get tired of carrying a bag of a rotting corpse around?
Yeah.
I don't see how they stomached it. And that's the one thing nobody's really, discussing. The fact that you are touching a bag with a dead person in it and you're just taking it from place to place. Got to put it over here, grab it, put it over here. You got to watch the bag. You got to keep walking by looking at the bag. You're talking about some sinister shit here.
Yes.
This is way sinister than just unaliving the kid, because I don't really know how she was unalive. But the point is, there's evidence that she was deceased in that shelter. And it's just hard to believe a person would carry her around. And then here comes this dodo bird. She's right there riding the donkey ride with him.
Yeah.
And they had 2 kids with them in tow. It's just crazy.
Yes.
And then you get knocked up by him? Why?
Yes. Again. Yes. None of that makes any sense. But people like this, does anything they do make any sense, really?
Well, because he's just a monster. He likes putting his hands on people. That's his method in dealing with people. That's why I asked earlier, did he abuse Kelsey, the girl he was dating? Did he abuse any other girls, that he dated after leaving, after she left him? Kayla, no telling how many women he slept with. And as I said before during this live stream, I won't doubt that he's had relationships with men. I don't doubt.
Do whatever you have to do to get what you need or want. And I believe he did abuse that other girl, but I think it was morely after they were away from the grandfather. And I think that's when they were in the car,
Yeah, the
the blue
Pontiac.
Pontiac.
Yeah, I watched his testimony briefly today that he gave them that car to go to Manchester.
Yes.
It was a very short testimony. Hello, Pinto. Very, very, very weird.
Yes.
Well, like I said earlier, you can implement all the structure, guidelines, protocol, just like anything. The old cartoon that used to come on the weekends, How a Bill Becomes Law. You could say something 1,000 times. How the bill going to become a law? Somebody has to adhere to it. So your protocol in a guidebook, handbook for the DHS office doesn't mean anything if a person decides he or she don't want to follow protocol. Doesn't mean anything.
Well, not only that, even if there is protocol and it's followed to a T, there's been cases that even though things were followed the way they were supposed to be, things happen. People fall through the cracks all the time.
Yeah.
And that's even if they follow protocol. So at some point, someone needs to figure out how to change protocol or make it work because, well, even if they change things, it's not going to change everything. It's not going to keep everyone safe, but I mean, there's so much evil out there in the world. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people that want to be cops. Hire them to be investigators for the Department of Human Services. Why not? Let somebody do the footwork. Let somebody do the footwork to watch the people come and go, see if they go to the bus stop, see if they go to school, talk to the staff, talk to other children, talk to the neighbors, talk to the medical professionals. This might help keep people in line.
Yeah.
Because if you got somebody staying on their ass and going to these different people, you can gather information quicker and you can assess something quicker by having knowledge, because knowledge is key. You don't have no knowledge, you don't have nobody to ask. So just like he let her stay there knowing she wasn't enrolled in school, he should have took her off that.
Yeah.
You don't sit here and wait for somebody to put somebody in school. It was fucking October.
Yeah.
He should have known she should have been in school. You're going to sit here and take his word for it? Oh, well, I had a problem with this, and this, something about her school records or something he said. That wouldn't have been good enough for me.
No. And a lot of workers want to go and talk to the children while they're in school away from their parents. And that was the other thing that got me. He couldn't tell where Adam was while he was talking to her. So he could have been across the room glaring at her with that look of, if you say something, I'm going to whoop your backside, that kind of thing.
I found it where he didn't remember.
Yeah, he didn't remember, but that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised if Adam wasn't standing across the room giving her that you keep your mouth shut glare.
Just strange.
But we don't know because the caseworker couldn't even tell you.
Well, he was too bland in his testimony. He didn't have no emotion while testifying about the little girl, which is baffling to me. The girl is dead. And you have heard the details, and yet you're sitting in there. I got to check my notes. Every time the prosecution asks a question, I got to check my notes. I just thought, this is bullshit. You had time to read those notes before you came to trial. What is it that you just had to keep going to verify every basic scenario? You allegedly didn't deal with them that long, so I just didn't understand none of that.
Yeah, because normally at trial is when all the info comes out and we're all sitting there going, oh, and it didn't happen like that. We're like, where's the rest of it?
So what?
Normally at trial, everything comes out and, we're all we're all gasping at, what we hear. But in this case, it was like, where's the rest of it?
I'm confused at what you're saying. What do you mean, on his part?
During the trial, the whole trial, it was very open-ended with lots of the witnesses and everything.
Well,
like we didn't know how Harmony was treated in foster care. We don't know what her demeanor was. We don't know why.
And how about bringing in the last person that had her? Ding, ding, ding.
Exactly.
Why are you going to bring her, who had her 3 times? I'd have brought the last person that had her And I definitely would have asked, what was her demeanor like? Did she talk? Was she eating? What was her weight to your knowledge? Did you take her to the doctor? Did she have
Was she
outside
weighing
contact with any of her?
herself then?
Yes. Did
Yeah.
she have outside contact with any relatives, anybody else? Those are nothing. Just
Yeah,
bullshit.
nothing. That's why I said the whole thing was very open-ended.
Lord have mercy.
It was just crazy because that's normally when we get all the info is during a trial.
Yeah, well, all we heard was from some damn dope fiends, reformed dope fiends.
Yeah,
That was the extent of that trial.
pretty
I'm
much.
gonna play this content again for those coming in the chat because I'm under 100 viewers right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this for you guys. This is pertaining to new information that the child was afraid of her father. Somebody's told the advocate in her case this information. Don't really know when this was told to her. It's kind of, I don't. It's very bizarre. Oh, Lordy.
Well, I would think that they would have had a guardian ad litem or something for her, but after she
Well,
passes,
maybe that's who the advocate is.
but what good is a guardian ad litem if they're not doing their job?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. One second, everybody. NBC 10 Boston is the source.
Advocate here in Massachusetts reminded us of who Harmony was, a toddler, blind in one eye and dealing with mobility challenges, who lived life as fully and brightly as her smile. The child advocate investigator of Harmony's DCF case told me after her investigation was released, a source came forward to say Harmony was afraid of her father long before she was sent to live with him. It's a stinging new rebuke of the attorney appointed to represent Harmony's interests, and it's a story you'll only see on NBC 10 Boston.
We received information after we issued our report that indicated that Harmony was afraid of her father. And so a question that I really want to ask, but can't ask because of attorney-client privilege, is did you have a conversation with Harmony? Did you explain to Harmony what it would mean for her to move out of state, right?
In the Massachusetts custody trial, Harmony's lawyer told the court Harmony wanted to be with her father. The judge agreed, and Adam Montgomery took his daughter to New Hampshire.
Well, you've never seen Adam Montgomery's home. How did you make a substituted judgment on the basis of what was 10 visits that this made sense for Harmony to go with her father?
So you trust the source that told you Harmony
Yes.
was afraid of her? So it's someone who would know.
Yeah. It just reinforced for us how premature the decision was to send her home. And that has bothered me since the person called to share that information.
When Harmony's case came to light, New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu admonished the Massachusetts courts.
It was the Massachusetts courts that placed Harmony with a horrific individual.
The Office of the Child Advocate report was also critical of the judicial system, the attorneys, DCF too. And Thursday, a court spokesperson told us the report's recommendations assigned to them are in the process of being implemented, all of them, in an effort to ensure the system never fails another child in the way it failed Harmony. So Priscilla, now the state's child advocate, who you just heard from there, wants new legislation that will require oversight of the attorneys who are appointed to represent children in these DCF custody cases. Her hope is that proper oversight of new professional standards will catch this kind of judicial misstep in the future.
So, okay, what about the lawyer who represented Harmony? What does that person have to say with these new developments and what they hope for in the future for other children?
This is a really interesting part of the story. We don't know who the lawyer is. It's legally protected. And what the child advocate says is that she can't question that person because of attorney-client privilege.
Interesting. All right, Glenn, thank you.
Let me go back and start over. I want to hear something she said about the timeline of when she got the report. Hold on, you guys.
Who lived life as fully and brightly as her smile. The child advocate investigator of Harmony's DCF case told me after her investigation was released, a source came forward to say Harmony was afraid of her father long before she was sent to live with him. It's a stinging new rebuke of the attorney appointed to represent Harmony's interests, and it's a story you'll only see. Today, the Office of Child Advocate here in Massachusetts reminded us of who Harmony was, a toddler, blind in one eye and dealing with mobility challenges, who lived life as fully and brightly as her smile. The child advocate investigator of Harmony's DCF case told me after her investigation was released, a source came forward to say Harmony was afraid of her father long before she was sent to live with him. It's a stinging new rebuke of the attorney appointed to represent Harmony's interests, and it's a story you'll only see on NBC 10 Boston.
Hagen?
Yes.
Okay, she says after she did the investigation. Well, when was that?
And she says long before Harmony went to go live with her dad. Well,
so
why
she
wasn't
visited
something
10 times.
said?
So 10 times she's visited him, and the child must have said something to someone about the visits. So then you got to ask, where were the visits? Were they at the state office, the foster care home? Where were they? Usually they would probably be foster care, but that's mainly where she lived, was foster care.
Yeah, or in a public place.
So why he wouldn't be mean to her in public in front of a social worker? That wouldn't make no sense. And he's never had custody of her, so something's off there. I have to think about that for a minute.
The only thing that I can come up with is there was no other place to put her right then.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this person's commentary, because if we're going to believe what this person is saying, he didn't have custody of her. So how could he have been mean to her and he didn't have custody of her? Got to make it make sense now. Because now re-listening to this, that doesn't make sense. How is he going to be mean to her?
Unless they allowed
never
him.
had custody of her? Go ahead.
Unless he was able to take her privately, like, you know.
That's the only way. That's the only way. Because look, 2 months of living, she went into foster care after being born. 2 months old. I could have sworn that lady said she had her for 2 years or so. And in between that time, she's going back and forth with the mother. The foster mother had her 3 times. Crystal had her 3 times. Then she went to another home. They asked her about being a rehabilitative something. She said, I don't know anything about those people. So now you got to fit in the 10 visits during this time span also with Adam. Something is off. Something is way off, because there's no way he would have been mean to her with an eyewitness. Now, I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that.
Exactly. That's why I say he would have had to have maybe gone and picked her up from the foster home or took her out somewhere, or even in the car.
And then he's in New Hampshire. I'm assuming the little girl was in New Hampshire at that time. I'm getting thrown off now. So Massachusetts would have been for the mother, because she lived in Massachusetts. That's where Massachusetts would come in. So that's the only way that's going to work. Yeah. They let him have visits with her alone.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. What happened to the supervised visits and the overnight visits? Shirley, we don't know anything. You're not going to know any of that. Somebody has to tell that Adam had unsupervised visits with the child for us to believe this source. That's the problem. The dead can't talk.
Yeah.
So you got to decide if you believe this or not. I just know he wouldn't have been mean to the little girl in front of no damn social worker. Now, I don't believe that.
No.
That makes no sense. So he had to have had her alone 10 times.
Yeah.
Or at some point.
Or somewhere along the lines, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow he was able to put the fear of God into her for her not to say anything after that.
But she's 5.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, 5 years old? Everybody don't behave the same. That's what people don't understand about children. Because your 5-year-old
Yeah.
would talk, I mean, this one would talk. Children are abused every day and they don't tell people.
Yeah.
Even when they're asked what happened, they know the lie. Oh, I fell off my bicycle because somebody told them to say you fell off your bicycle. You better not tell anybody what happened. And they don't.
Yeah.
Some don't. Just like those kids out in Houston, old enough to tell people that they're not eating, they're starving, they're smelly, they need to bathe. A teenager decides one day to say, the hell with this. I'm telling people I'm starving, I'm hurt. My mother, she leaves us here alone. We have a dead brother in the other room.
Yeah.
So imagine he's living in a house with a dead person almost a year. He never told one soul until he decided to.
I think he might have got hungry enough and fed up enough and said, this is not the way we're supposed to live. And
yeah,
found a way to get out and go tell.
Every day he's coming out that apartment begging for food. He never told the neighbors, never called the police, never told the landlord, hey, we're starving. My mother is abusing us. Her boyfriend's abusing us. They killed our brother. He's in another room under the covers. Never said nothing until the day he decided to tell the truth. And he was much older than Harmony. He was like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. And luckily the people that he told did the right thing and called the police.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to call once you tell me there's somebody dead under the covers. But people knew something wasn't right with them because they were probably unkempt, smelly, begging every day. See, I would have been called the police right there. I'm not getting ready to keep just going to the landlord complaining. The landlord, she was a dodo bird, or whoever was the landlord, they were a dodo bird. People were complaining about smelling something in the building, and you don't get off your lazy ass and go check to see where the hell the smell is coming from. See, this is bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All little that were helping feed him never said a word, never said, let me take you back to the house, let me look around, let's see what you need. Nothing until that very last person.
Yeah. Just like the case in Florida with the little black girl whose mother was in the military. That's another one that slipped right through the cracks. You watch the little girl come outside in her pajamas and you steady don't say shit. Oh, yeah, I walked her back to her apartment one day. You should have went to the landlord or called the police. Hey, she's outside again. She shouldn't be out here. Her mom's gone. Her car's missing. Damn, come on. You see the mother's car is gone. You see a fucking 5-year-old kid running around. Man. And then you want to talk to the news. They find the baby in Alabama. Rest the mother, whatever. And now you got a version you want to tell the news. Oh, yeah, I helped walk her back to the apartment. Well, she's dead now. How about that?
Yeah.
See, I don't get down with all that crazy nonsense. Okay, I got Green Eye up here. Hold on one second. Green Eyed, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, Queen. I'm calling from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
All right, run it to me.
Okay. So I have an idea about the lie situation.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Not really.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
you don't went. You didn't. I would prefer you start with the search and the allegation that she was afraid, and then go on over to the old stuff we've already talked about.
okay, you want me to start with the search? Okay, they got the U-Haul, which everyone knows that's cheaper than to get a car. It's $19.99, and you get 150 miles free.
Well, I didn't know that. So when I decide I want to rent a car, I should go rent a van?
Yeah, you might as well get the little U-Haul.
I never heard of such.
Yep. And they used 122 miles.
Well, how do you know that? I read 133.
Okay, I read 122.
Well, somebody.
So either way.
Yeah, either way.
Either way, they didn't use 150 because they knew they'd have to pay more. So what I think is this: I'll have to backtrack and go to the lie situation because then I can tell you about what I think is left. of
Yeah, I don't
her.
want. I don't want. I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to jump into all the gossip and the he said of Kayla right now. I want to talk about what my video is about, and then you can go over to all your hypotheses and theories. You understand? Just answer me
Okay.
this: where do you think the child is disposed? If that helps.
Well, okay. So it, of course, is between where they picked up the U-Haul and between the 122 miles or 133 miles.
Massachusetts. They don't believe New Hampshire, so that leaves Massachusetts.
Right.
Do you agree or
So
disagree?
I agree.
Okay. Do you think he dropped her off somewhere in the town where he grew up in Revere, Massachusetts?
No, I don't, because I think that he would think that they would look in that area.
Okay.
I believe that he did not dispose of her, all of her, the bones and teeth, in the same spot, and the bag. I
Okay.
don't believe they're in the same spot.
Okay, well, guess what? Think about what you're saying now. You don't even know how she was when he discarded her. You understand what I'm saying? You
Okay.
don't know if she was one lump or she was in pieces. See, we don't know.
Well, yeah, that's true. I am only using my medical knowledge. I'm a physician's assistant, so I'm only using. My mom was a detective for 38 years, so
Okay.
I'm only trying to use that knowledge and kind of put it together. And I know
Because
it's
you got to
just
think. Because you got to think about
speculation.
this. You got to think about a person who didn't have common sense to dispose of her day one. Okay. You're out now in the middle of the night or the evening going out trying to dispose of a body. Is he the type that's going to go place to place to place? So you got to know that to say, well, I think he dumped this, because we don't even know if she was whole. See, you don't know if she was just one big mass melted down. See, because you don't know. So for me to say, well, he went over here and then he went over here, I can't say that because I don't even know the state of what he had in the bag.
Right. But what we're thinking of, the smell, we were um, the other night you were talking about the smell,
Mm,
and I was too, and I have seen plenty of. Unfortunately, I did help my mom with her job,
mm,
because I knew a lot of medical, and with her detective. So I've seen a lot of things with lye and what people do with it. And I know once it hits water, I've seen people throw lye on people and throw water, and it
mm.
starts to burn and disintegrate
Yeah.
their
Okay.
skin. Um, and once it gets to a certain temperature, it can disintegrate a whole
Yeah. Yeah.
body in three
Yeah, I read
hours.
that, but I know he ain't used
Right,
nothing. He ain't
right.
used no 300 degrees or nothing. So I'm just assuming some type of lime, quick lime, because that's what she said in testimony, that it was lime in a bag. I didn't think she said lye. I could be wrong, but I thought she said lime.
Yeah. Well, there's lye, but when you make it into a solution, it's lime.
Mm, okay. Well, now you see, that's the whole point. We don't know what he did in that bathroom.
Yeah. I was just thinking maybe they heated up that water. They threw that lime on her,
Yeah.
that lye, and
Mm.
then they poured it over her. And as her body was, just horrible. I'm sorry, y'all.
Because she didn't
As
say he
her
ran the
body,
water. I was wondering what the significance was of the water. So maybe he had read somewhere if it's got some heat to it, it would help dissolve
right,
it.
right, and then that as her body was disintegrating, and trust me, it gets like exactly what that said. It does get like an oil,
Mm-hmm.
but once it goes down the drain,
It would
that
clog it
oil
up.
is going to clog it up.
Well,
Exactly.
the oil's going to
So it
clog it up because
totally
grease will
made
do
sense
that.
to me. Right,
So what I
right,
don't understand
exactly.
is this: if the lime can dissolve a body, fabric, or whatever, which is however, lime, lye, whatever, what food's going to stand there in the water doing it, not thinking of anything popping back on them? I don't know.
Yeah, no, he would have just laid her in there and then poured that on and then just left and then just waited. and then came back, and then he would have just pulled the drain.
Well,
I mean, this is just, things that, I'm thinking of. He's high. He doesn't.
Oh,
Mhm.
let's see, was that anyhow? Oh,
And another thing, you were saying that Adam was good looking. Nobody is that good looking for me to live with a man in a car.
yeah, I understand. Well, but people do. People date all
Oh,
types. People date all types of people, whether they're attractive to you, me, them, whomever. All types of situations. You've seen that.
I'd have stayed home with Mama.
Well, the girl,
I
she
know.
she went down to Manchester, different places, probably staying with them. Didn't care.
Yeah, Harmony was a check for them. Drugs and money. So that was just my kind of 2 cents, maybe to think about, maybe.
Okay, so let's talk about the advocate's commentary that somebody told her the child was afraid of Adam long before he got custody of her.
Okay. I need to ask you a question. When Adam and Crystal were together,
yeah,
um,
like mine thinks alike.
yeah, was she abused then?
They weren't in a relationship, from my understanding. I think they just had sex and she got pregnant.
And then they weren't together anymore.
I don't know. They didn't really go into detail. All I know is they asked her, "Did he live with you?" She said no. So I just took it that they just messed around and she got pregnant.
I think Adam abused probably. I mean, they don't change their colors. Um, I believe Adam did abuse Crystal, and she liked the drugs, and I think that he did abuse Harmony at the time too.
Yeah, well, this is what
And,
I'm
and
saying
of
about
course he
all
was
this. Hold on
afraid.
one second. Slow down, slow down. What I have a problem
Okay.
with is the glazing over everything in court. If he abused her, why not ask that, ma'am? What was the situation between you and Adam? When did you meet? How long did you date? Did you live together? Was it just sex? What was? Explain the relationship. Then you go into that. Did he ever put his hands on you? That's how
You're
you judge
exactly
it.
right.
I never heard
You
anything. I
are,
never heard about that. So
yes,
I don't know.
you're exactly right. And I have been in court when my mother had cases, and for some reason, we're sitting there like, why aren't you asking this question? It was the most important question, but yet they did not ask. And it would have been a bombshell. And then they waited because they wanted another witness to ask, because they thought that that witness wouldn't have been credible. Like maybe they thought, Crystal wouldn't have been credible, but they should have asked. They
What do you
should have
mean?
asked.
Like, slow down. They wouldn't think she's credible. Well, then why use her? Period.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Why didn't they ask
I mean,
Crystal if
they
she?
have to have the mother there, to ask, what happened to your kid? How did your child get in foster care? But once again, a lot of open-ended information. They didn't ask certain questions, but a lot of the people.
Why didn't they ask Crystal why were your children taken 3 times from the state?
I don't know. She already told them. I understand she's a user.
Yeah, right.
Substance abuse.
But they definitely should have asked. Was Harmony
Somebody in the chat
abused?
said from one of her interviews she told he abused her. Well, my thing is this: you can't bet on people watching the news if they're watching a trial. Who needs to hear the information is the jury. not me.
Exactly. Yeah, you're exactly right. I agree with you all the time, Queen.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's not. It don't mean
Good,
anything.
good.
It don't mean anything for me to listen to the information. I'm not the jury member. The jury member needs to be the one hearing anything about the child's life, relationships, courtships, how many times in foster care, any commentary that the child said. Because in the end, everything's a version. So, the biggest thing about court is they never want to hear he said, she said. But it's like, well, how can you talk about something in court without repeating what somebody said? I never could understand that policy. Well, how they try to word it to
Well,
where I got to explain how the person said it without saying they said it.
what about the CPS guy or DPS, whichever, the
Mhm.
mailman now? Um, what happened to?
Wait a minute. Let me get
Did
your let me
he?
get your answer. Let me get your answer on that question. Do you believe the child told somebody that she didn't? Hell, I forgot.
Did
Jesus,
he ever tell? Did she have? Did he ever talk to her?
that's what
And
I'm
she
trying
said,
to ask.
"Oh, I feel wonderful living in a car,
Well, that's what I'm
peeing on
no.
peeing
What I'm
on
saying about the
myself."
child. Did the child tell somebody she was afraid of her father? Do you believe the child said that?
Not in front of Adam or Caleb.
No, not that's not what I'm asking you, sweetheart. Did she tell somebody she did not like the father? She was afraid of him. Do you believe what the lady is saying? Is what I'm asking.
I do believe it.
Okay. So this is the question we have. If we're supposed to believe that, how would he have been mean to her if he didn't have custody of her? Hello?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking.
Because when I first read the title of the video, I said, oh, yeah, he probably was. But then it dawned on me, wait a minute, this girl's been in and out of the state's care. He didn't have custody of her until the end. How could he have been mean to her if he never had her alone? Because he wouldn't dare be mean to her in front of a social worker. That would be stupid. And they would be
If
liable
she
for
was
allowing him to
scared
be visiting her.
of her dad.
Say what? Say what?
Yeah, she wouldn't have said it. Yeah, he would have been mean to her to
Not in
go
front of a
back
worker.
to. Yeah, you're right. Right.
So I had to
Right.
rethink that. When would he have been mean to her before
Right.
custody?
Yeah, because he would have had to been extra nice to get that check. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that too, but by the time
Hagen, you're breaking up. Yeah, he'd have to love on her because that's not going to make sense for you to be mean in front of a
that's
social
why I'm
worker.
wondering if there was no other place to put her at that time.
Yeah, well,
Somebody wanted to adopt her.
yeah, but that doesn't make any sense because that's your job to ensure she's going in a safe place that you have verified information on the person. If that's the case, you could have just sat outside at the stop sign. If you're not going to verify
Well,
anybody whose house you're going to put her into.
well, I don't think that judge did his homework at all.
Mhm. Well,
And didn't the DPS guy say when he turned around and saw her, he did see a black eye on her?
a mark under her eye and in her eye, I think.
Yeah. So that's
Unless
normal.
he
You don't
was
question
able to
that.
do the
No, he did. Slow down, slow
unsupervised
down. He,
visits.
he he complained. He explained it. Adam explained that the kids were playing with some Nerf sword or whatever, and that's how she got the injury.
Well, then that's when you pull the child aside and then you ask him.
And then that
That
would
Well,
was
bring
they
his
up the
said he
fault.
did.
point
They
of,
said he did.
say he told her, or say she said that he was mean to her. He was doing an unsupervised visit. Then he could turn around and they could say she's lying.
Hagen, I don't understand what you're saying because you break it up.
She's saying that he could have said it was on an unsupervised visit.
Right, but see, we don't have information to that. We're just listening to what this woman has to
That
say.
caseworker might have been sitting out at the stop sign.
What?
Because that caseworker wasn't worth a hill of beans, apparently.
No, he was terrible.
I don't. Okay, Green Eye, go on and start talking about what you wanted to talk about before.
Oh, no, I just wanted to
disposing of the child and all that.
Yeah. So at that point, all that would be left would be the skeleton, and there would be hair,
Yeah,
but
but
it would
see,
be
if that
very
injury, if that
Let her finish. Go
if
ahead.
that
Green Eye,
injury
finish.
was in her eyeball like a scratch, wouldn't there be a record of her going to the eye doctor?
Well, if I took her to the doctor, the only visit I've read about was when she had the sores around her mouth, the impetigo. That's it.
And
I
if
mean,
she
that's just
had
my
it,
thought on the
I
subject.
promise you that the other two children had it. It's very contagious.
Yes, it
Like
is. I read that. Listen, wait, hold
if
up.
she had a
I read
scratch in
that.
her eye.
Hagen, we're not on that right now, baby. We're on the mouth thing right now, sweetheart. Just wait. Y'all wait a minute. Let Green Eye finish what she's saying
If
about the
she had a
sores. Okay.
scratch in her eye, wouldn't he have asked if she
asked what? She's breaking up. Okay. Because both of y'all trying to talk. Wait a minute. Let's stick to the sores. Okay. When I read the police report, that's the only report pertaining to a doctor's visit. I believe that was in June. That she had the sores around her mouth. Naturally, I Googled, the sores, whatever. Yes, it is contagious. And I also asked that question too. Did the other children have it? Because I remember him making a comment saying she was sick when he tried to, call him that day to say, I need to come by and see the child. And he said she's sick and the other kids are sick. So now when I do that research about the impetigo, whatever, I'm wondering if maybe the other kids had the same thing too. I don't know. So you don't know what to believe.
And so what I would like to mention
Because you don't hear of a visit of the other children going to the doctor.
Right, because they probably just used her medicine for them as well. If they got medicine.
Right. If see, we don't even know if she took it to the doctor for that though. We don't know.
Right.
Oh,
I will
say I'm getting behind. Yes, she went to the doctor for that, for the mouth situation. So what we got to ask is, did the other children have it? Where did she get it from? Is it from not being clean? Because we already learned that the house is not clean. It's nasty. Maybe that's how she got it. Cross-contamination. This person touching this person. They say you can get it from hugging. So where did she get it from? And did the other children have it?
Well, what I wanted to tell you was I've had many patients and children that, I've had to call CPS and stuff a lot. And a lot of the children who have wet themselves and have sat in their own urine and feces, what they do, the girls, they would have a UTI and they're scratching. And then, of course, they're touching their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to there. It goes that way as well. So I know.
Wait. So slow down. So how would a UTI cause it? What is it? Impetigo, whatever. I'm confused.
It's a bacteria.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have E. coli in the back, and then there's a couple of bacteria in the front that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And as nasty as I'm sure they kept them, because I know they didn't take them to the bathroom and clean them as well as they should have. I am sure these kids were scratching in the back and in the front. And they're touching their mouth as they eat and so on.
Okay. Well, we don't know about the other
And
children.
they didn't get antibiotics. I mean, they're not going to spend their money on antibiotics because.
Yeah, but that defeats the purpose of taking her to the doctor if you ain't gonna buy no medicine.
Right.
She'd be
Right.
covered anyway medically. So I don't know what they didn't do. I just know they took her to the doctor. That's in the report that she had that impetigo, whatever. So I don't know if other children were sick. I don't know how she got it, but my mindset just goes to if the house was unkempt, that would be a reason for her to get any type of bacterial infection, cross contamination, so on and so forth. So
did they have animals?
Did she ever go to the doctor any other time? I don't know. I have not heard anything in testimony or from any social worker or anybody in the trial. That's just something I read in a report, police report pertaining to her. I don't know about pets either.
Okay. Yeah. And I hate to say this, but I think they I think they were all pimping themselves out.
The parents?
Yeah.
Okay. The little girl?
If you want me to be honest, I think so.
Okay.
Whatever it took to get the drug.
So let me tell you
And
something.
that's why she was having accidents
When I
from
first read
sexual abuse.
when I first read about the source, before I even knew what the source came from or whatever, first thing my mind went to something nefarious with the little girl. That maybe somebody had been touching her inappropriately, putting body parts, her mouth on their body parts. It's just something that came to mind. But naturally, if it was something that it was a grown-up disease, that would have been in the report. You know, I would assume.
Well, most predators.
Well, let me ask you this: do you believe the child? Do you believe the child was sexually assaulted?
I do, and most of the time, it's not from the front; it's from behind, so they don't get caught.
Okay, what the hell are you saying? What's the difference? She's a baby. If you got checked by a doctor, right? Listen, if a 5-year-old got checked by the doctor right now, you want me to believe a doctor doesn't know that she's been penetrated by either direction?
It's harder for us to detect anal than the vagina. The vagina we know because
but your anal is just as small as your front. If you're 5.
Yes, but your hymen would be broke. The anal goes back to its normal self, unless it's right after it's happened.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, sweetheart. You know damn well if a man is well endowed, ain't no going back to nothing. Oh no, 5-year-old. Come on.
Yeah, but she hasn't been to the
you're only
doctor.
so big at 5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But she hasn't been to the doctor, and at this point, I mean, she only went to the doctor for the skin infection, the bacteria. They never checked her for that.
Let me address somebody. We don't know what happened with this child. We don't know who checked her and did what. Because we don't really know that the doctor gave her a full exam in her anal or her vagina, in checking her mouth, number one, because I didn't read any of that. We don't know. As far as her being sexually assaulted, hippie, you don't know what happened to her in that house. There were different men living in the house. He was a man. His uncle was there. His brother was there. And that's not counting other people coming and going, spending the night, the places he would take the children. You don't know. The Tabitha, she keep her and the other kids allegedly. So you don't know who had contact to the child to say if they touched her.
The drug dealer.
You know, you gotta be realistic now.
I am.
No, I'm not saying I'm speaking in general to somebody in the chat. You don't know who and where the child has been. Then you got to remember she was in other places as well. She was in other foster homes. So people don't really know how the child was acting, how she was behaving. What I found interesting in this audio when they said she was blind in one eye. I did not know she was blind in one eye. I know some blindness was mentioned, but I didn't really get any details according to, the foster mother read off some, different diagnoses and some were wrong, but I didn't know she was like blind. I don't know. All this different type of wording and stuff. I didn't look up those definitions when she was in court testifying about what the girl had and didn't have. But it's just sad to think she was blind in one eye, which I'm sure that's why she's wearing those corrective glasses. 2, they mentioned how mobility was off. I never heard that before.
Yeah, I could tell by her eye. They do have eye therapy for that. The eye that goes inward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
that would be terrible that age to be blind in one eye. Then you have mobility issues. I wonder what that was from.
I think it's from her being born from her mother doing drugs.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking too. Before I even knew about mobility issues, I thought the eye could have been something that the mother was doing, with drugs. And then the father, he wore glasses too. So both of them had some, eye issues.
Yeah.
Not the best vision, rather. Because there's pictures of him wearing glasses when he was younger on his Facebook page when she was about 2 or so.
That's weird because normally a child isn't born with normally it's rare that a child is born with that type of eye. When they get older,
mm-hmm.
they get it. Like it's normally between like 7 and 10, and you'll see it start happening where the eye gets lazy and starts turning in.
Okay. So it starts turning in at what age?
About 7, it starts turning in, and then we can give them glasses, but we also, there's eye therapy, and it works wonders. Okay. I mean, it works wonderful. I know great eye doctors that do it now. I mean, and it works, and then they don't even need glasses anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what I found interesting when the foster mother was testifying that she had misdiagnosis, I think the mother mentioned as well, I was wondering why these doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with the baby's eyes. Maybe it's because she was too young at the time. I don't know.
Well, that's weird. I'm sure. Why didn't they just bring in an eye specialist? He would have known right away.
But I would assume she did go to eye specialist. They said she had different diagnosis. Because both said it. The mother and the foster mother said that.
That's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's not to say that people can't, misdiagnose you because we know it happens, but I just found it strange. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. I thought maybe it's because of her age and she was so young at the time. They started noticing problems with her. Maybe the doctors couldn't figure out.
Wow, that's sad. It makes me sad. The saddest part is not only what she went through, but that she had, the eye problem and the mobility. And, and I know, I mean, look, I'm going to tell you something. If I lived in a car, I'd have to wear Depends because I'd pee in it too. I'm just saying.
Say what?
If I had to live in a car like she did, and I wasn't able to just go to the bathroom when I needed to. I mean, it's hard to hold your TT. Yeah. I mean, you pee on yourself. I'd have to wear Depends.
Yeah.
If the other
that's why you don't even know. But see, that's the whole point about this bathroom stuff. You don't really know what to believe because far we know she had bathroom issues when she got with Adam. The fact that she's been moving around from place to place. Somebody in the chat said the mother said she did use the bathroom when she got nervous. Well, see, that changes the whole dynamic from she's potty trained to, oh, yeah, she has accidents sometime when she's nervous. So, see, you don't really know what to believe.
Yeah.
Because when you're going around from place to place, that's traumatic in itself. You don't know how she was treated at the last foster home. So she could have started,
Exactly.
she could have started using the bathroom on herself before she even got to Adam's house. I'm not saying he's the cause of this and this. You don't know anything because there's nobody really to tell you anything. Kayla's the only one spinning the story about this baby.
Exactly.
And we know she's lied because they've proven she's lied to the grand jury. So you have to take a grain of salt whatever she's had to say about the baby using the bathroom in the car, how many times he hit her, this and that. Even the defense attorney said that sounded crazy. And it did when she started listening to this man's beating a kid. Well, it seems like to me she would have been dead days before.
Right.
You're hitting a baby in the nose? Come on.
Kayla reminds me of that Crystal girl that was in the Kelsey Barrett case.
What case?
The one that Kelsey Barrett, the Crystal girl that was a nurse. She cleaned up the crime scene.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, they let her off because she told on Patrick, the guy that killed her. But she went in and cleaned up the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
But Kayla needs to sit her butt right there.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't help that child. She could have gotten out at the Burger King while he was sitting there paying and ran out.
Yeah. Do you even believe the Burger King story?
Oh no! Oh really? I do believe this. No, but I do believe this. When she says she put her hand back there to feed her,
Yeah.
I believe they put Harmony in the floorboard and threw a blanket over her.
Okay.
Not in the seat. I think they put her on the floorboard.
Well, I don't even think she was ever in that car. I don't know if I believe any of that story, only because the more I listen to it and the more I listen to the defense replay it back, I do believe she was probably already dead when they became homeless. When the defense said she pulled her through that bag out, pulled the bag out from the that hole through the seat, that got me to thinking that maybe the baby was dead all along. There was no Burger King replay. There was no replay of none of that. All that the stoplight shits don't sound right.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Pinto makes a good point. Kids need consistency in potty training. Harmony was passed around too much to learn. So sad. So I'm gonna go back to that for just a second. See, once again, you're going on the version of two people. Yeah, she was potty trained. That's what the foster mother says. Then the mother says, yes, she was potty trained. But just because I was potty trained doesn't mean something can't change after I've learned how to use the restroom on my own. You understand what I'm saying? If I become traumatized or fearful or scared, I can start using the restroom on myself. It's not that I don't know the toilet's there. It's not that I can't get to the toilet. Maybe I'm fearful. Something's causing me to release my bowels, blah, blah, blah. See, we don't know. And that's one of the issues I have is not knowing what was really going on with the child's bowels. Urinating. Was she fearful of the father? Was she having problems before she got to his house? So, that's a question. Now, the scenario of the day, the beating of the child before they get to the methadone clinic, she slips up and says the baby was beat days before in the nose. I'm just starting to wonder if any of that was even true. Even the sitting in the parking lot for 2 weeks, we learned that he only let them sit in his car for 2 days. So then you have to double back and say, well, were you in the car for 2 weeks before your car broke down? But allegedly they got put out, I thought, the week of Thanksgiving. So they couldn't have been in their car for 2 weeks because their car was driving for 2 weeks. So I don't know.
And then they said the dried blood, blood doesn't dry that fast.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what led me to think she probably was dead before the December 7th date.
Yeah.
And then that got me to thinking, well, if I can think that days before, why not take it farther back? So then that got me questioning everything she said about that day in general. What if the whole day's a lie? Because she could not have died on the 7th because the cop said he didn't see her on the 29th of November in the first car accident. He didn't see her December 2nd in the car. So that means she was dead before the 29th.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Queen.
So if you lie about the date, you will also lie about Burger King, the parking lot. See where I'm going?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why
You're
we're trying to figure out
right.
what's the significance of December 7th. Then we find out Adam says in a report the baby died on the 6th, and that's when she killed the baby while he was gone. So it's like, what is their deal with this December 6th, December 7th? I'm confused.
Yeah, they tried to make up a story, and now they even had their own dates confused.
Yeah, but there's a reason why she's doing that, though. What it is, I don't know. But she has a reason why she's spending those days.
Because on the 6th, obviously she was alone with her. She's got to say the 7th, so they know that he was with her.
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say to you is, sweetheart, it's all a lie.
Yes, it
the
is.
child was dead before the 6th and the 7th. So why even make up the dates, period?
Yeah. And she wasn't in that.
Unless what he's doing is he's dry snitching and saying Kayla did do something to her, but I helped cover it up. I don't know. Because what if we got it wrong? What if indeed this woman did do something to her, or she helped, and they just made up these dates? I don't know. It's just something still off.
Yeah, but where was she during the accident?
She was already dead. That's the point I'm trying to make. She was dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're right.
She was dead. That's why I said, if I can believe what the cops said, okay, that he didn't see the child November 29th or December 2nd, why would I then believe all this other bullshit of the methadone clinic, the Burger King? Who's to say she didn't make all that up to have a story to feed to the prosecution so she doesn't catch the murder charge? That's a part of her agreement. Okay. That's a part of her agreement. I tell you, listen, I tell you what you want to hear so I don't catch the murder charge.
Right. What about the lady who took him to the methadone clinic? I can't remember what that day was. Why didn't she just drive off? If she was so scared,
she had dropped him over. All that happened at the house. She was trying to help her because she said she wanted to use her phone. So she was trying to let her use the phone, and that's when he came back and all that mess went on with them.
Yeah, I would have drove off with her.
She couldn't drove off with her because she already knew that wasn't going to work, girl. Kayla just played games. She had enough time when this lady's taking them to the methadone clinic. If they went in at different times, I don't know how that went, but I don't know. I guess they all went together so she couldn't talk to the people in the clinic where he could see to use the phone. But I would have tried to talk to somebody in the clinic to say, I need help to get away from this guy. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because the lady took them at the same time, so she wouldn't be able to probably talk in private. He'd be right there watching every 5 minutes. But I would have wrote a note to somebody or something and told her, please excuse me and put me in another room. Now, we did learn that they were going in and out the clinic one at a time after they had left their kids in the car and somebody had complained on them. But because at one time they were going in the clinic together and leaving the children in the car. So let's say the driver took them in together. I could see where she'd be afraid to say anything because he'd be right there. But, I don't know how they set the treatment up. If he would be right there when she got her treatment. See, I don't really know how that went.
The methadone lady could have done an assault charge on him for the grabbing the phone.
Well, yes, she could have.
Girl, I'd have been all on him.
Yes, she could have. But you can see how she acted while she was in court. She's very mild-mannered, and she was giddy and grinning, and that probably wasn't her demeanor to call the police.
Yeah, I know. And then she told him, I love you.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, she probably had to say that to calm him down.
Yeah, maybe did. And
Yeah.
what's sad is look at how all that turned out. You're sitting here coddling these grown ass people, may actually have genuine affection for both, and this whole time they've thereafter rather carrying a baby around. Carried a baby around. So imagine all the people who were really nice to them trying to help them, and they had no idea what they were dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. Could you imagine?
I can't.
But I do have to give props to Uncle Kevin a little bit
Okay.
because he did call,
Mm-hmm.
but he should have stayed on it.
See, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Dealing with DHS is a slippery slope, and it's obvious from this case. When you see direct abuse, I'm not talking about hearsay. I'm not talking about hair not combed, that type of bullshit. Because you
Right.
don't know no more than what you see on the outside. When you see direct abuse, a black eye, you should have called the police. You should have bypassed filing a report next day, same day, 2 months later, because let Adam tell it, he was gone by the spring. So the DHS worker didn't show up till July. So what's the truth? See what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, I definitely would have called the cops.
Yeah, I would have called the police. I would have stepped outside, used my phone. I wouldn't use somebody's phone. And then I would have went back and sat there and played dumb until they showed up.
Until they showed up. Yeah.
And then there would be no disputing the eye, waiting for it to go down. Because I won't doubt that's the reason why he didn't let the worker see her when he first came by the house. And then he called him later that day and he put it off for another week. He probably was waiting for the swelling to go down.
Yep. Exactly. You know, when we call, the cops come and they bring the CPS with them. I mean, immediately, which is a shame because it doesn't work that way when somebody calls from a home.
Well, I am going to assume a lot of people saw the abuse with the child, possibly the other children too, in the house, and nobody did anything. You know, maybe somebody said something to him, stop that, don't do that. Or maybe she was also taking turns abusing the kids or kids, you don't know. But like I said, if you saw a black eye, you should have called the police. I would not have called DHS, and I would not have waited a week, a month, or however long it took, because anything can happen. And the sad thing is anything did happen. That's the gist of this story. Something did happen to the child. She's no longer alive because
Right.
people sat by and watched the abuse of the little girl. There's no way I'm going to sit here and believe the day that she was allegedly murdered was just that one time.
I still think Kayla is. Mm, it makes me sick.
You think Kayla
That
what?
I think that she needs to stay. She needs to get the same time as Adam.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, because the more I listen to her testimony, the replay of everybody speaking and talking in court, because I didn't follow everybody's testimony day for day, but just the visualization of all these people testifying, knowing of her, babysitting, going to the clinic, this driver lady, it went on too long. You're talking about a battered child and you're talking about a dead child. You want to get beat up and be abusive, that's your business. Be in that relationship, that's your choice. But when you're talking about children, there should be no exceptions. And she didn't do due diligence by her own children. So that it's not just about, listen, it's not just about her baby. I mean, Harmony, she also is a part, though her kids are part of the drama too, because they were babies and they weren't potty trained. So just like if we believe he beat her up because she was using the bathroom, he would do the same to the two little ones.
Right. Right. I mean, she didn't even try to help Harmony. Like, okay, I'm going to put one of these diapers on you so you won't get beat.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I'm sitting here trying to explain to you. Do you actually believe that story now?
No.
Okay.
No, no. I don't believe her story. I don't believe his story. I believe they're just CYA.
They what?
CYA. Cover your
Oh, eight.
ex.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you go back, a lot of the stuff didn't add up with the just the whole scenario that day, him beating his child from 2 a.m. to 7. All that sounds crazy. Then saying he beat the child days before. You saw dry blood on her face. Oh, it made you think back to days before. All the mess with the Bodero and the car, him giving them food. Then the testimony from the cop, the 29th. That's on a Friday. Allegedly, the defense says that's the day she went to see her mother. Well, she could. I doubt that she saw her mother and and the mother said she saw the little girl, if I was to believe that's the 29th, because that's the same day she was in the police car without the little girl. So that
Right.
means the mother is also
Right.
lying.
Well, I'm hoping that they have caught Kayla in a lie.
Well, they
And
did.
her.
They already did. The testimony from the cop tells us she lied.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, then her deal will not stick.
Yeah. Because why am I going to believe the cop's going to lie about not seeing a little girl in the car 2 days?
Exactly.
He has no reason
Yeah.
to lie. He didn't know them from a can of paint at that time. And his report says he didn't see a little girl, the 29th or the 2nd. So, make it make sense.
Yep. Well, then her deal won't stick.
Because the thing about it, they said they didn't offer her immunity. They just said, I guess they put those charges on the back burner for her to tell the truth, but I don't think they have anything signed in ink, if I'm quoting this correctly. There's no immunity deal.
Okay. Okay. Well, then she'll be in for a long time and won't be able to go home and see her children.
Right. As Shirley said, she was charged with lying to the grand jury. But all those other fraud
Yes.
charges and theft, she didn't get charged with any of those, I think, in exchange for coming to testify, truthfully.
Yeah.
So that's what she's serving in prison, is the perjury charge.
Right. Right.
Thank you for that, Miss Shirley. Yeah. So that would have been her exchange. You go to court, tell the truth, what you know, how the baby was unalive. We'll put those other charges on the back burner. So really, she got she got off not to be charged for the fraud of food stamp fraud, tax fraud, because she also claimed the child on her taxes,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
also, harboring a corpse, because you're aiding abuse of a corpse every time you were there with the carrying of the baby. You also carried the baby with your children in a stroller to his job. So
Yep. You
I don't
share the
understand
bag
it.
and keep the place. Yeah.
I don't understand it.
So, I was thinking when the night that they got the U-Haul, she was probably in the car with the children. And when Adam got back, she might have said, "Well, where'd you put her?" And he was maybe he did say, "Oh, just somewhere out there. I can't remember where."
Mm,
He might have said that. What do you think?
I don't know. I know she's a liability either way. She was a liability to whatever happened to the girl, whether you believe that version
Yeah.
of her.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then telling her where she is would be dumb.
Right. Right. But was Adam alone in the U-Haul?
My understanding, he was, because they asked Travis, "Did you see where the U-Haul went with him?" And he said no. And then Travis is the one that called him, remember, in the text messages, "Hey, where you at? U-Haul's not back. So why would I be texting you if I'm with you?"
Huh. There's got to be some way. that they can get his text message.
I just told you, honey.
No, what I'm saying is, why can't they get that guy's text message and route where it went to?
Whose text message?
The guy that texted him, "Hey, where you at? The U-Haul's not back."
Well, obviously he was at home in Manchester. What are you saying? That's not who you need to be worried about. You're trying to find the van, girl. You need to know where the
Yeah,
van was going while he's texting.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, if I don't have my GPS on, that's why people don't have their notifications on. See, for all we know, he didn't even have notifications on his phone. They just got the van going through the bridge. I don't know that they learned anything about his GPS. I would assume they would have mentioned that in court.
You'd think by now these U-Hauls would have trackers on them.
Yeah. Well, I would, just in case somebody stole the van and didn't finish paying, then bring it back. I would at least know
Right.
where it's located. That way I could put, a bolo out on it to the, had the police put a bolo out on it. Okay, we tracked it to Massachusetts, New Jersey, whatever. They do that on cars, I think on,
Well, rental cars do, yeah.
cars, yeah, but not then, because this is still a few years ago, so I don't know.
Well, that's hard. There's got to be something. Well, mm, 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 mm. Well, that's all I got, girl.
Okay.
I tell you, I wish I could be on the jury. It take about 15 minutes.
Oh, so you be the only. Well, you see, they deliberated a few hours, then they went home, then they came back that morning, and then they made a decision that afternoon.
Yeah, they wanted to get that lunch. I just said, let's take a vote. All right, fill it out. Let's go.
Well, let's talk about this and now check out of here.
All right.
She's going to be getting out eventually, pretty soon. Somebody in the chat said April. Not really sure, because I don't know if anything's going to change with the district attorney and the testimony given by she and the cop. But let's say she does get out April or sometime this year. How would you feel about that? Her being out free and possibly no charges made against her?
Absolutely not.
Because she's only facing like 3.5 to 7. So I would assume she'd have to do the minimum of the 3.5. So she was arrested years ago. That probably put her at her 3.5 this year in 24.
No, I think that judge is going to say, due to the circumstances.
Well, it won't be up to the judge. It'll be up to the parole. She's already in prison. She's already serving her time. Remember, she was in a prison guard testifying. She's already in prison.
Then I think they're going to come back and say, due to her lying on the stand.
You hope.
I'm going to go in there and say, Your Honor, due to these circumstances, you cannot you let one judge mess up. You cannot be another one.
Well.
And then he'll say, contempt of court, and I'm going to say, I don't look good in orange, Your Honor.
You're a mess.
I know. They got to keep her in at least 5 years.
But what is 5 years, actually?
Nothing. They need to keep her in. I say put her in the electric chair, but you know what do I have?
But you got to have a trial for that.
I say put lie on her, but I mean, that's not nice.
Girl, you're crazy.
The Lord don't like what I'm saying right now, but when it comes to babies, I have a problem with that.
Well, somebody's talking about the Letitia case and GPS. I don't know anything about that case, Teresa, and I don't know what they had. They obviously they didn't have anything, or we wouldn't be talking about it right now. Every city, every personal company, U-Haul is owned by independent owners, I would assume. So what you decide to put in the U-Haul is up to you. What you're going to pay for as far as cameras, you know what I'm saying, surveillance and all that, trackers on mileage and so on and so forth.
Yeah, they did get one from
GPS
the
tracker, I mean.
gas station. The gas station ones are just they're not like from the U-Haul company,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah,
they don't really
a lot of people that independently own them.
right,
So not just they're not owned by the U-Haul people, the legitimate
right,
U-Haul conglomerate. Just
yeah,
you are renting them out to people,
yeah.
independently owned
It's,
is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, it's probably a 1962 U-Haul.
My grease. What, it's got two wheels?
Yeah, it probably looks like the Scooby-Doo band. Yeah. Mm. Well, hopefully some of the girls in the jail or prison might not find her too kindly.
Well, let's ask that too about both parties. Are they both in isolation or general population? What do you think?
Well, I heard that Adam wanted to be put in medical.
For what? Where you hear that from? Gossip.
No, it was in a news article.
Ooh,
They
excuse
said that he wanted to be put in medical, but
me.
they
Recently?
would.
Recently?
This was 5 days ago.
Okay.
They said he wanted to be put in medical, but he was not allowed.
Mm. Wonder why he wanted to be put in medical. Make it look like he's gone crazy. Make his case look better. After the verdict. Was it after the verdict?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sure it was all over the news, and the inmates were like, "Oh,
Well, they get information from the guards. People don't know the guards are just
yeah,
as scary because they love to talk. They tell who's coming in, what their charges are. That's how they know who's coming in when they get there.
yeah, that's true. They sure do." Tell it all, tell a guard.
And all the drugs and stuff that get infiltrated, that's coming from the guards.
Guards,
Staff
yep,
members, whoever was working.
cell phones, everything.
Trying to see. So I see here the jurors were taken to the methadone clinic. Interesting. I don't see anything.
What does the methadone clinic show?
Say what?
What would the methadone clinic show?
It might show the distance of all that shit, that story she made up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How long it takes to get here, to get there. Because the methadone clinic was a part of her testimony of them being there, going there early that morning. He beating her up until 7 a.m., Because she made sure to say that during trial when they would break. She would say, don't go by any of the places mentioned during testimony. Don't watch the trial. Don't watch anything pertaining to the trial, which they did.
There
I
was one
don't
place
see
they were
anything
gonna.
going to no clinic.
There was one place they were gonna take him to, the jurors, but the lady put a sign up there, Adam Montgomery is a murderer. So they didn't take him there.
Well, where was
Because
that?
she didn't want the people coming there.
Let me read this to the chat, because this is
Okay.
something I heard that was so crazy. I mentioned it briefly, I think. Adam Montgomery said that authorities were wasting their time as a multi-state search for his daughter's remains unfolded in late 2022, according to the recording of a call played during his New Hampshire trial. The case rested on Tuesday, and he said Montgomery, who conceded to 2 lesser charges of abuse of a corpse and falsifying information earlier this month, faces 1 count of second-degree murder in connection with 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery's death. According to key testimony from Montgomery's estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, he repeatedly hit the little girl in the head on 7 December 2019 after she soiled herself. Montgomery and Kayla did not realize Harmony had stopped breathing until hours later. Montgomery hid his daughter's body in a cooler before relocating it to ceiling vents at a shelter his family was staying at, and then went on to reduce the remains using power tools. He eventually disposed of the body at an unknown location, March 2020. I didn't remember her saying he used tools. Maybe I need to go rewatch that. I thought she said he was in the bathroom using the lye, or the water. An investigation into Harmony's disappearance launched December 2021. Mother alerted authorities, hadn't seen or spoken to her daughter in 2 years. A year later, Montgomery was arrested and charged with murder. I'm trying to see if this, okay. So when it was at trial, during direct cross-examination, the state played the recording of a call between Montgomery and an unknown individual that took place around the time that the FBI and other law enforcement organizations were searching for her remains near Merrimack River. One dude went to the police and I was blown away, Montgomery told the other person on the call. This dude was like, oh, my friend, he passed away, but he was very cool with Adam. He told me Adam gave his daughter to him to bury by the river. I can bring you to the spot. Say, what?
What?
They had the FBI and everybody else there digging up the river. I'm like, is this real life right now? They wasted their time. When the other individual said that authorities were just doing their due diligence, Montgomery said the allegations were outlandish and that the search was a waste of taxpayers' money. Now, I did listen to some of this audio where he was talking. I really didn't understand sequence of all this, but it says, I get it. You're trying to prove a case. Kudos to you. But at what cost, man? Just going to chase down people that effing call in from Arizona, Montgomery said. Harmony's remains have never been located. Montgomery's attorneys claimed during opening arguments that Harmony died under Kayla Montgomery's care and that he had followed plans to conceal the little girl's body to protect his and Kayla's 2 infant sons. Judge Amy Messer said that deliberations are expected to begin by the end of this week. Okay, so we already know he's been found guilty. I'm trying to understand this conversation here because it's throwing me off. Let's see. So it was between Montgomery and an unknown individual that took place around the time they were searching for her near that Merrimack River. One dude went to the police and I was blown away, Montgomery told the other person on the call. This dude was like, oh, my friend, he passed away, but he was very cool with Adam. He told me Adam gave his daughter to him to bury by the river. I can bring you to the spot. They had the FBI and everybody else there digging up the river. I'm like, is this real life right now? They wasted their time. So allegedly that's somebody from Arizona calling that tip in. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But we've learned people do talk, and people do talk in jail. We've seen that 1,000 times. In jail, in prison, they give incriminating information. They pillow talk. Allegedly, they said he didn't mention anything about Harmony to the girl who died, the girlfriend. Why not? He told everybody else that he had a girl child that was gone with the mother. Why this one female he allegedly didn't tell he had a girl child? I find that strange.
And if he already admitted that he got rid of the body, why not go ahead and tell where you put it?
I can't tell you where I put it because that shows I killed her, honey.
No, you said.
I heard what you said. I know where you're going with this, but I'm not going to do that. Why am I going to give them what they want? I only conceded to the abuse because you got evidence in that ceiling. Imagine they hadn't had her in there stinking. You wouldn't have never known she was in there. Stay woke now. You always got to remember, people only concede when there's evidence they can't refute.
You said abuse of a corpse.
He can't refute that.
You said abuse of a corpse, Adam. then that means and you hit her. Where?
Yeah, but he's not. Listen, he's not owning that he hit her. He's saying, yeah, I toted the body around, but I didn't kill her. He's saying basically what Kayla's saying. Yeah, I was there for the murder. I was there for him carrying her around, but I didn't kill her.
But you said you were charged with abuse of a corpse. Now, you took her somewhere. You have already admitted that. Where did you bury her?
Okay, but
You
I'm not going
admitted
to
to
tell you
that.
that. Okay, you're still not listening, sweetheart. He doesn't have to tell you that.
Well, then you give me electric chair.
Listen, just
Then
because
you
I
give me
tell you,
electric
slow down. Just because I tell you, I abused the child. You got to remember, in the beginning, he said he didn't even do anything to her. But once the evidence comes out, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I abused the corpse, but I'm not going to tell you where she is. Why would I do that? It's all a mind game. That's what you always got to remember. You are trying to think for yourself in cases like this. You're not the killer. You're not the person that unalived her. So it's not a mind game to you. This is a mind game. Okay? It's a mind fuck. That's all it is.
But you already admitted that you buried her.
This point. I've had control up until this point. I've lost control now that you know about the baby soiling the ceiling panel. See where I'm going? So I got to go on and say, I put her up there. My prints are up there. I can't deny that. Why would I be putting my prints up there? Why would I be up there? So he went ahead and conceded to that. He couldn't refute his fingerprints up there and the baby's DNA up there.
Oh, I thought he admitted abuse of a corpse, which meant he took her. He admitted to hiding.
Abuse of a corpse. Listen, abuse of a corpse is just what it is. I had access to the body and did whatever. He's not talking. Listen, he's not talking. He's not telling you details. So it's up to you to use your imagination what you think he was doing with the body. You see what I'm saying? See, you're trying to put logic with this. You can't put no logic with it. You wanted somebody to confess to doing this and this. First of all, he had already told you he didn't kill the girl. He's only conceded because there's evidence to show he had access to the body. He was hiding the body. See where I'm going?
Well,
but I'm not going to tell you where I put the body. Why would I do that? I'm not going to do that. I have no reason to tell you that.
Well, then why not use psychology on him?
Who are you speaking
He's not that smart. Adam.
And who's supposed to use the psychology, ma'am?
The cops, the FBI. You say Kayla said that.
Now, Green Eye, you starting to act like you're sleepy now.
Oh no, I'm not sleepy.
Okay, but think about what you're saying. You want somebody to use psychology on a person who carried a dead person around for about 4 months or so. Just think about what you're saying. He's lied, manipulated, beat up people, hurt people, shot people, and you want him to confess to where he put a dead person.
Well, I know for a fact that I have sat in what they call, quote, an interview. And my mother sat there. We were there for 22 hours. And just so we would leave him alone, he told us.
Well, why would you be in an interview room with a criminal? I don't understand.
Because my mom was the detective and I was doing the medical part.
Which is what?
Checking out his psychological. I was like doing my psychological testing.
Was that a part of your job? I thought you were the physician's assistant. When did they do psychological physician's assistant?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've gone further.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your point? 20 hours and he didn't say anything?
Yeah, I'm saying, did they keep him in there long enough? Did they use Kayla against him? Did they? I'm thinking there's no way you couldn't have gotten.
You're answering your own questions, Green. They did. She told it. You remember she told? When she got rearrested, she told. This is her version. Doesn't mean it's the truth, but it's her version.
I just can't believe they didn't rough him up enough for him to say, okay.
You've been watching too much television. Girl, that shit don't work. Look how many people have been beat up, going into jail, and finally go to trial, alive at trial, and they still say not guilty. Why do you think they put prisoners in isolation up until trial?
Well, he's got nothing to lose now.
Listen, so they don't hurt themselves. Also, so nobody does anything to them, be it a guard, staff, or inmate. They want them to make it to trial. That's the purpose.
He's got nothing to lose now. He might as well tell.
Yeah. In your opinion.
He's already in there.
Okay, but see, you are thinking in a layman's way of thinking. To him, so long as I hold that secret, it's valuable to me. See, that's what you don't understand. He's a narcissist. He's a psychopath. So it's valuable to him to hold that secret. He is not the first person to do this, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's true.
You know how many people don't tell the truth of where a body can be found? They need that, because if I'm still telling you I didn't kill a person, let's say he was wanting to still ride the ride, I'm innocent. So long as he holds that secret, it's valuable to him. It does not matter what I think. It does not matter what was said in court. It doesn't matter that Kayla testified. Don't matter what the 12 members of the jury. That's my secret. I hold that. Because in the end, he's been controlling this whole situation from day one anyway. That's his best kept secret, where she is, if he hasn't told anybody else. So it doesn't matter what he pled to. I still know where she is and you don't. So he's got one up on everybody. Why would he give you that? That's the golden goose. The goose egg. I'm not going to give you that.
Yeah. He pled to those two things so he wouldn't be known as a child killer in prison.
Well, maybe not. But that's the whole point of this. You're trying to rationalize as a person who has never harmed children, allegedly unalived a child. You're not Adam Montgomery. So you're thinking for you. You're not thinking as the killer. That's his hold on everyone. Let them search here, let them search there. Talk bad about the FBI, this person who called in saying they know where the baby is, blah, 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 blah. That's funny to him. Think about it. He knows where the baby was at that time when he was holding that conversation in the jail. That's amusing to him to see somebody call in saying they know where the kid is when he knows they don't know. Or he thinks they don't know. So
when he said the FBI is wasting their time. Yeah.
So he could talk shit all day. They don't know where she is, and I ain't gonna never tell them either.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Kayla knows?
I don't know. I think she would have told. Why not tell it? You already said he did it, so you might as well go and tell it where she is. You know what I'm saying? Be done with it. But she still probably has feelings for him. And in her mind, she might think they still could be together at some point. So she might hold on to that secret along with them. You see, you don't know because they're both ill.
Right. Yeah, she said she wanted to be with him one last time.
Yeah, so who's to say that would be her little secret? I'll hold that till the end. I don't got to tell them everything because in the end, you don't know what's the truth. And what you always have to remember, she has been proven a liar. So she could have easily made up this whole story about how they unalived her. You don't really know how the child died. You don't even know when. We've already got proof that they lied. She's lied even in court here recently about the date. She could have lied about that whole story. They could have, like I said, killed that baby at that house, got tired of DHS coming around, got rid of her. You just don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Well, Jen, he may not want to be labeled as a baby killer, but who's that teardrop for that's under his eye? How about that?
Yep. Yeah. Wasn't he in prison before, Queen?
Yeah. When the baby was born.
Heck, oh,
Yeah.
what a
She had
mess.
she gave birth in June of 14. He got out September of 14.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's never going to tell what a baby is. He has no reason to tell. The only way I can see him telling is once he's been in there a long time, he doesn't see himself getting out, then he might tell. But right now, no.
Can't get him out.
Yeah, but I'm saying if he's in there to a point where he doesn't see a way out, he's still going to appeal, honey. So long as he thinks he has hope, he could.
I might offer him drugs.
See, that's another thing why you're not listening to the information. I'm going to hold on to this secret because I can appeal. So long as I got the right to appeal at least 3 times, I don't got to tell you where the damn baby is. That's my right.
Well, they'll be denied.
Huh?
They're going to be denied.
Well, see, you're thinking for yourself. You act like he's a killer, honey.
I say they'll be denied.
I hear everything you're saying. Listen, I hear everything that you're saying, but you're not thinking like somebody who's murdered a baby. At this point, he's delusional. So he's delusional. Kayla's delusional. So what I think really doesn't matter. Let's be truthful. They don't give a fuck about what we think. If they did, they would have never killed the kid. She'd have never went along with it. As far as I know, I don't even know if she partook. I can't say I wasn't there. But the point is, when people have crossed over the line to unaliving a person, you can't say what they should do and would not do, tell where the baby is, tell where the victim is. That's their hold on the world, on the universe. They're the ones that snuffed them out in the first place. Why am I going to tell you where I put a body? The body puts me with the person. If they can bring back, any type of DNA, anything under fingernails, all that type of stuff. So long as he knows that he can appeal, he's not going to tell you where he put a baby. He doesn't even have to tell you that he hid the baby. As you keep saying, abusive of course. Who's to say he's going to say, yeah, I hid the baby? For all we know, he's just saying, yeah, I was handling her, but she took her somewhere. He hasn't spoken. Whether he's telling the truth or not, he has not spoken.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't agree with.
He don't want to speak. Why should he speak? That's his right. That's his Fifth Amendment right.
Yeah, but he should have been there. That law is ridiculous.
Well, but it's the law.
Well, what do you think about that law?
Well, see, you're asking me stuff that it don't matter what I think.
Well, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it don't matter. Would I like for him to be in the courtroom? Of course, but that's the point. I'm not Adam Montgomery. He knows the law. Ain't you to figure that out? He's been in trouble. He knows people. He knows how to manipulate. He knows the law. Just like they couldn't play all of that incident of him getting arrested with the girl. That was his right not to incriminate himself, because there he's speaking about the case to the detectives, that the cops that are asking him, hey, where's your daughter? Where's your daughter? By law, they couldn't even play that in court, which was so jacked up, but that's the law.
Which I still don't understand, because it did have to do with the case.
But in the beginning, they're asking him, they're stating his rights, if I'm not mistaken, in that video. So anything he says is incriminating or non-incriminating. That's the law. Anything you say can and will be held against you. So
yeah,
that's his right. I guess, that it couldn't be played. Whatever he said to the cops. Which I'm sure we've seen lots of testimony of people talking to the cops and it was played in court, but in this instance, it wasn't. I guess because he didn't show up. I mean, I don't really know all the legalities and stuff, but that's just
Yeah.
the law. So, I mean, even though he lied in the beginning, he said, he told the judge when he got the sentence for the guns, he said, I want to go to court. Please don't judge me according to that upcoming trial of my daughter. Now, he said this to the judge. I refute the charges. So that is why it's baffling, I guess, to most people. It's because he told the judge at the gun trial, I want to go to court. I want to go there, and don't judge me when you give my sentence according to the trial of my daughter, upcoming trial. So that's why it don't make no sense that he didn't go to trial. But I don't think he would be ready to give a version. Let's say he wanted to testify, which, you know, they recommend you don't. He knew he couldn't get up on the witness stand and give a version of what he did to his daughter. He wasn't going to do that.
No.
Rather it be the truth or try to make up a story.
But you did bring up your daughter, so you did open the door.
What you mean?
When he asked the judge, please don't use this against me, against a trial against my daughter.
Yeah, well, they knew about that.
Yeah.
You know, certain things are entered into evidence, you know, your past and future cases. So obviously he wanted the judge to know, you know, whatever you render today, please don't give me a sentence according to what you think I could have done to my kid. And he was smart to say that. So that's why I tell you he has a lot of sense. He's not no dummy. Where he's a dummy was killing the kid and carrying the kid around. But he knows how to maneuver, you know, as far as the law. He knows how to do that. He just was a dummy for killing the kid and carrying her around. That's where he's a dummy. You know, outright idiot.
Did they bring in people from the pizza place about the bag?
Yeah, guy and a girl.
Okay. So weird.
Yeah. And see, this is what's so baffling about the story. Everybody has a tale to tell after the fact, which means shit to me because the girl's gone. How you have all these different people don't know each other, got a story about this, and this. Shit that should have been preventable. You didn't think it was odd a person carrying a bag, a man at that, a bag in a freezer. Ask yourself, does that make any logical sense? Why would a guy be carrying a bag in the freezer?
Did he say it was his lunch?
Okay, I'm going to say it again.
I'm just asking.
Why would I be carrying a bag and leaving it every day in the freezer? Why are you people not noticing that's odd and peculiar?
No, right away I would have said something dead in there.
There's nothing you should be carrying in a bag to put in a freezer every day. Nothing. You're going to work at the job. The only thing that you should have out is possibly a soda pop or drink that you could put in the refrigerator, not a freezer. So that's why I said there's nothing that you would own should go into a freezer.
No, I would have went to the manager and said, look, I think he's bringing in a dead animal. That's just me, though.
No, I wouldn't have said that. I would have just said there's something off with him carrying that bag in there. That's what I would have said.
Right.
Because it's not like a bag where somebody could think he's got to change the clothes to go to another job or something like that, or he's going to change out of his clothes. That would make more sense, him bringing a bag. The fact is that he's bringing the bag into the freezer. What would you have that needs freezing on your shift? That makes no sense. Now, he's carrying a bag. That's his private business. If he had a bag in, carrying a bag every day, that's his right to have a bag. You can't tell somebody can't bring a bag to work. The point is, he brought it into the freezer, and we know there's no common logical reason for a man or a woman to have something to put in the freezer unless they went grocery shopping and said, I bought a few things, I'm on the bus, I've decided to pick up some things for work, and I'm going to leave it here in the freezer so that way it won't, go
Right.
spoil. That would be the only
But
logical
not,
thing of reason to
but
use.
not every day.
Well, no, unless the person is riding the bus, walking, and that's their method of shopping. Because people do quirky things. That's the only thing I can see. He's bringing food to keep in the freezer from the grocery store. Hey, I don't want to go shopping when I get off, or when I get off the store be closed, so I get it on my way to work and I bring it to the freezer. That's the only logical reason that you would use to use a bag in the freezer. Now, he could have got away with that and said that. I grocery shop every day. I don't have a car. I don't have anybody to take me shopping, so I get a few things for me and the wife and kids on foot before I come in. Now, who's to say he didn't say that? So nobody questioned what was in the bag. So you got to think of everything. So then you got to also ask, did somebody go to him directly? Hey, what's in the bag? Why are you bringing the bag in here? Obviously, nobody did, or he would have stopped bringing it there. And at some point, he did stop. That's when he decided to get the lime, whatever, to, dissolve the child or dry the child out. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that briefly. I'm already in 3 hours. Imagine whatever he used to try to break the child down. You are looking at your handiwork from unaliving the kid, allegedly, and then trying to break her down. Can you imagine looking at a dead corpse in a tub that you've been carrying around for months?
Oh, no.
Because I'm sitting here thinking about, torso, head, arms, leg, feet, so on and so forth. And I can't imagine the state she was in once she got to the tub, because we understood that he folded her up 2 times in the duffel bag and in the CMC. So she wouldn't have been stretched out. She would have been folded up.
Yeah.
It's just hard to fathom.
Mm.
I mean, I can't even imagine her folded up. I can't even see that.
I've seen some things.
And then that canvas
pretty.
bag, how big could the canvas bag have been? Even with her folded up, it's just hard visualizing the bag. It's hard visualizing her folded up in the bag. It's hard visualizing her. Now thinking back to testimony from Kayla, her folded up in the tub and him putting whatever on her to get. Oh man, it's just too much.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they got those tools from
the mother,
Kayla's mom? Yes.
I don't know. I didn't even know they used tools. I thought he was just using the lime in the bag.
No, they showed her pictures of tools in the court.
Yeah, I saw that, but I'm saying I don't know that they use tools because I don't remember her saying they used tools. He used tools.
Kayla said that she heard tools.
Oh, okay. I don't remember.
But I don't care. I believe because they went there to the mom's house. The mom left their money in that cooler.
Yeah. But guess what? Think about what you're saying. Look how long that was from that time up until March. That's a long time. You could have been got rid of her if that's the case. But they couldn't remember because they didn't have their own place. Okay, Brooke said he bought tools. Okay. I didn't hear anything about the tools. I guess I blazed over that. I just remember her saying him being in the bathroom. The door was closed. He didn't come out for hours. I didn't remember hearing about no tools in there. Because I didn't listen at the testimony verbatim.
Yeah, she said the music was up real loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's even worse. That's worse than using the lime.
Well, yeah.
Because see, why are you going to use tools when you already got her folded up and you use the lime to dry her out? That's just to really guard the smell. You're still putting her back in the CMC bag. So the only thing I can see using the tools is to break her up and you're going to maybe scatter her around in the water or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you use the lye to break down the body. Yeah. And then you have the skeleton and then you break those with the tools. With that saw.
You know,
yeah.
if he, you know,
And
if
they
that's
just
what he did. I
smoke.
don't know.
Oh,
See, I don't know. I want to see. I have to have proof about the tools. Do they have a receipt that he bought tools?
I still say they took it from the mom.
Yeah. Okay, but you took it. You took the tools, but it took you till March to do all of that from December.
No, I think they got in there before that.
Well, I don't know.
But
And how would you get
you
in her
know,
house? Because she explained where she kept her tools and stuff. So how would you get in her
yeah,
house
but
to steal the tools?
that's easy to pick.
Huh?
That's an easy door to pick.
Yeah. Well.
The lock.
Yeah, but we don't know if she worked, didn't work from home. See, we don't know any of that. And then think about that. She's going to notice them possibly because she said she kept them out in like a living or dining area. She probably would notice the tools missing.
She said she kept them in the basement downstairs.
Oh, I thought she kept them in a common area when they were asking her about something that she kept in the common area in the apartment. Something she left out and open.
That was a circular saw.
Yeah, the saw. Well, that's what I'm saying. She said she didn't leave something out that was visible. See, y'all, that's weird to me. Who leaves a saw out in the common area? That's weird. And my thing is, if you're into that type of woodworking and refurbishing stuff, then you need to go get a house where you can get a garage, not an apartment. Who wants to use a saw in an apartment? Think about that. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, she said there was like a little basement downstairs, and she kept a lock on it. Well, Adam wouldn't have a problem with that. And the thing was, is that Kayla told Adam about those saws.
Yeah. Well, I still say it. Even if that's true, that's still strange. Somebody gonna let you put a lock on their private door of the apartment. You got to know if that's true or not. See, it's just too many what ifs, coulda, woulda, shouldas, and then it went on too long. So I'm gonna steal tools. I got to break in your house now. You gotta know when she's home, not home, if she worked or not,
And they took her cooler
and all that.
in March.
You know, so I don't know about all that because if I don't get no verification or nothing from the court, from the police, stolen goods. She reported somebody, stuff stolen from her house, lock broke off the door. She went and saw the tools missing. Then you could tie that in and say, okay, he used the tools for this little girl.
They brought the cooler into the courtroom. I mean, why'd you take the cooler, Adam?
They took the cooler because Kayla mentioned it.
I know, but what was it for?
Have you paid attention to anything that Kayla said?
Well, yeah, I forgot though.
The cooler belonged to her mother. It sat in the hallway.
And she left money for him.
Listen, that's where he put the body in the duffel bag in the cooler. He wasn't going to take it in the woman's house. Obviously, he knew it had to be it's going to start smelling at some point. Allegedly, they had it for 3 weeks at the mother's house in the cooler. You know damn well that the thing was smelling. That's why I said all this is bullshit. Because there's no way she wasn't smelling out in the hallway. Death is death. Death
I understood that they stole the cooler from the mother's home.
A dog, a cat. Okay, you're not listening. I'm talking about the cooler when it was at the mother's house in the hallway. They couldn't have stole the cooler because they went to the shelter. How would they steal that? You forgot they took her in a duffel bag to the shelter. Remember, they went to the shelter after the mother's house.
I remember that.
Yeah, so they wouldn't have had her in no cooler.
But I remember also that when they went to get the money out of the cooler that the mother left,
she said that's what I did normally. She said that's what she did anyway, before Harmony ever went missing or not. She said that's what she did to give them money. She'd hide it in the cooler. She'd had money in the cooler. On a piece of cardboard.
Right. I thought the cooler was stolen when they brought it into court.
No, that's for evidence to show what they hid the body in. You must ain't listen to the court stuff. Because I didn't follow it all the way, but I got that part. When they went to stay with the mother, honey, they put the child in the duffel bag. She was in the duffel bag when they got there. The duffel bag went in the cooler in the hallway. Allegedly, they were there for 3 weeks. After they left the mother's house, they took the duffel bag out of the cooler and took it to the shelter where they put the bag up in the ceiling. You follow it now?
Yes.
Okay. Like,
oh my God.
I just was sitting here like, what makes you think they took a cooler to the shelter? Jesus.
So the mom would come out and not even smell it?
That's what I was trying to make you understand. That the baby was in the hallway the whole time that they lived with her.
Well, that mom is, I think the mom is covering up for Kayla.
Well,
that's her baby.
She has to be covering up because she said she saw the little girl, was it Thanksgiving or the day after? The defense said November 29th is when she allegedly went to see the mother. She only stayed briefly. Well, that's the same day that she was in the car at the accident, and the officer said the little girl wasn't in the car. So the mother is lying. If it's the 29th.
And remember, the mom said that she was talking to Harmony and being all sweet. Yeah.
She was quiet.
The day after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
She didn't talk much. Well, she probably didn't talk because she was dead. So she was talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't talk. If it's the 29th, you didn't have her none that day because she was already dead in the bag.
Which that leads to me thinking that they took the mother's tools and she lied about it.
Well, she could have.
Because they didn't have money to buy tools.
Well, they didn't have money to do a whole lot of things, but you see how they were getting around.
Well, they pimped themselves out for some drugs. But they didn't steal from Walmart.
But let's be realistic. She's never going to admit if there was stuff stolen, but they would at least have a police report because I would see the mother would probably file a report and she'd know who's been in her house. Now, is she the type to just push it under the rug and not file a report once she think they've been in her house and stole it? Could be, you don't know. She would probably never tell that to nobody if she didn't file a police report. But the one thing I know, she wouldn't give her tools out knowing she need to use them for whatever she says she does. And what are you going to take tools for when you're homeless? That wouldn't make any sense to even ask her, can we use these tools? First thing I'd say is, well, for what? What do you need them for? You're going in the shelter. So say I weigh out everything logically. And I can't see her giving them her tools because they didn't have anywhere to live.
I think the mom wouldn't want to get them in trouble and didn't say anything.
Yeah, but you're not listening. If I don't know that you haven't done anything, sweetheart, why would you need the tools? You're homeless. Think about it. Why would they need tools and they're homeless?
Kayla
so that wouldn't make any sense for me to go to you and say, I'm already asking you to stay in your house. Now I'm going to ask you for tools that I don't use until March. See, you got to make it make sense. You got to remember that when they left her house, they did not go to an apartment. They went to the shelter. They stayed in the shelter up until February. They moved out in March. So taking the tools for what? You carried the baby around until March.
Kayla probably said they sold them for drugs.
I don't know. Well, see, the point about all that, you got to prove all that, see.
I know if I would say that my mother's house.
Listen, it still wouldn't make any sense. One, to hold on to the tools for 3 months, 2 to 3 months. That don't sound right. Why would I hold on to them for that long? For what? When these are thieves, as you say. So it can't be both. They can't have held on to him and used him to kill the little girl 2 months later. 3 months later. That makes no sense. Because if you're going to steal the tools to get rid of the kid, then you would have gotten rid of her somewhere at some point before March. You got to remember, they went to the mother's house in December. They didn't get rid of her until March, 1st of March. So make it make sense. Why am I going to hold on to tools that long? That's just too long.
Wait a minute. When was the accident?
Oh, Lord.
What date was the accident on?
The first accident was November 29th and then December 2nd.
Maybe it was December 2nd. When did the cop say he saw? He didn't see her.
Both days, sweetheart.
Okay. Maybe they got him and they did it on right before December 2nd.
They did what?
Killed her.
You're not listening. I think you need to get off this live when you're sleeping. Listen, the child wasn't seen November 29th. So she was murdered, sweetheart. She was murdered before November 29th. So she couldn't have died December 7th because he just said, I saw them 29th and the 2nd. They did not have the child either day.
Right.
Okay, so
they stayed at the mother's house when?
November 29th. That's the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Okay,
I
but you
think
said
that's enough
December 2nd.
time.
Huh?
I think that's enough time.
She wasn't killed the 2nd. She wasn't killed the 1st. She wasn't killed November 30th. She wasn't killed November 29th. She was killed before the 29th of November. Why are you having a hard time understanding that? I just told you, the cop said when I first saw them, there was no girl in the car, November 29th. So that means she was dead before the 29th. Can you understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm thinking the mother lied, saying she saw her. They took those tools, got rid of her, and that's why the cop didn't see her.
You mean the child was already dead when they went to see the mother?
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to make you understand. Why am I going to steal tools to only use them 3 months later? That makes no sense. I don't understand why you don't understand that. Why would I hold on the tools for 3 months? Who does that? 3 months. You're not listening. 3 months, sweetheart. They got rid of her in March. They went to the mother's house in December. Why would I hold on the tools for 3 months? Think about what you're saying now. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, make it make sense what you're saying. I'm not going to hold on to tools for 3 months.
Well,
they had ample enough time. Listen, they had ample enough time, no matter when they killed the kid. They had ample enough time to get rid of the kid. But they didn't. They carried her around. So common sense would tell you he wouldn't have stolen the tools to carry around for 3 months. It makes no sense.
Maybe they didn't have the money to get the tools.
Now, Green Eye, you're really starting to irritate me now because you're not listening. You're not listening to what you're saying.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not going to carry. Listen, they're already carrying around shit and they're homeless. What the fuck am I going to carry around tools for 3 months? And I'm carrying around a dead kid. They could have gotten rid of her if they stole the tools, let's say, okay? Wouldn't you find a place to chop her up and get rid of the child? Then you would have had no need to carry around for 3 months if I stole the tools to cut her up. Why am I going to steal tools and hold on to them for 3 months and take her from place to place to place to place to place? Think about it. It makes no sense. Yes, Brooks saying he bought the tools with a Home Depot receipt. That's what I was trying to ask somebody. Is there a receipt of him buying the tools? So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to steal tools and carry them around for 3 months. That's dumb. And then they're drug
Oh,
addicts. I would sell them before I would carry them around. Well, I'm 3.5 hours. I'm out of here. I can't do this. I can't go around and around with this. Thank you for joining, Miss Dear.
thank you, love.
Okay. Good night.
Good night, sweet dreams.
Okay. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. My head was spinning on that. I can't keep doing that. Anyway, you're entitled to believe whatever you want pertaining to these two bobbleheads. I believe the child was unalive before the 29th. I'm going to go with what the cop said. He didn't see the child the 29th, the 2nd, at the 2 car accidents. So I believe they unalived the child wherever, however, don't know. Possibly at the house, possibly while they were in the car, homeless. I don't know. But the more I listen to the story, I don't really have to believe nothing that Kayla said, because one thing I have to always remember, she's a liar and a known liar. So you'll never know the truth. She'll probably never tell the truth, the whole truth. Adam ain't going to say nothing. He's going to continue to appeal till he's exhausted all appeals. And then, like I said, maybe some day down the road, he'll tell the truth. But for right now, he ain't telling shit. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for my guests that came on. Hagen, Green Eyed PI. Thank you all so much. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful week. I will put up a movie of the week for your enjoyment. Last week's movie was Karen 2021. You can watch it on the All Black Network or in the YouTube queue. You can either buy it or rent it. Thank you so much for following this network. Welcome all new subs, viewers, old subs. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. The child was not killed on the 7th. Stop coming in the chat with the nonsense. The police testified he did not see a child in the car on the 7th. He didn't see the child on the 2nd, and he didn't see the child on November 29th. So if he didn't see the child on the 29th and the 2nd, how would she reappear on the 7th? Since you're coming in the chat late with that nonsense. Thank you all for your time. You've been listening to the Vault XL.